Hey, everybody, this is Perch. First off, I'm here with Joe Corallo. How are you?
I'm all right, Perch. How are you?
I'm good. I always start these things off all cheerful, like, yay. And then
Yeah.
I start drinking and things settle down. But
Yeah. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking, I'm drinking an old fashioned here. So it's very, very
Nice.
too fancy. I think I'm almost reaching that age where I don't want to put up with this. So it's just whiskey will be fine. Not
Yeah,
good.
no, I love just whiskey, but the other week, I remember you were talking about how awful Jaeger is,
Oh, yes, that's true. Yeah.
and it is bad. So I decided
Oh, no.
tonight I was going to treat myself to a Jaeger bomb.
Oh, dear.
I got my can of Red Bull here. Let's open that up
Okay.
and
I,
pour in some Red Bull into this glass of
strange
ice.
choice.
It's there's ice in this glass, so it won't be as miserable as it could be.
Well, for everybody who's joining us, by the way, we do have one more guest who's going to be a few minutes late, and he'll show up in a minute to talk about the book that came out this week. So I'll leave you with that tease, but he'll be right in. Okay, so Jaeger and Red Bull.
Yeah. Oh God, it's too much room for Jaeger. I poured the whole. It's the whole thing's in there.
You made a terrible mistake.
And I got a little more red. Top it off with a little more Red Bull there.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens.
Yikes. Okay. Well, we're off to a good start here. I get these pictures, by the way, these drinks, and I'm looking down at my drink, and it's like, there's no orange peel or cherry in here. What am I doing?
Right.
Anyway, all good stuff. It's been a crazy week. Thank you, Eric, by the way, 12,000. I still have no idea why that has happened, but I think it's mostly because of Joe.
I'm trying, but hi, Breen. It's great having you in the chat, and about to take a sip of this.
Oh no, the suspense.
Oh, okay. This is all right.
Okay, well, thank you for coming, and we will. Oh dear. Okay, well, we've got some things to talk, but I wanted before we get into all the rest. Hopefully, you heard Nancy Collins' interview. It was great that she spent that time with us. I don't know. I had such a good time talking with her, and thank you very much, Joe. That was a good time.
No problem. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I love those sort of interviews and doing these retrospectives. It's a great excuse to read some really great comics.
I like how we can hear in Joe's voice him struggling through that drink.
Yeah, I got this. It's fine, but
we'll do this soon. I'm inching closer and closer to just having the camera on so you could stare at my ugly face, and so that's soon, very soon. But Nancy, the thing that struck me the most, and it is a long interview like these are, so if you didn't make it to here, I think this is well an hour into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to follow up with you just while we're getting into things, kind of getting warmed up. She talked about this kind of idea that she needed to kill Abby.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she saved Abby. I mean, she basically went a different route. She went with divorcing or leaving Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
And it was such that sat with me now in the days that have followed the interview, because it was, first of all, the very callous, the editor's just like, just kill the character.
Mm-hmm.
Just get rid of her. And then not doing it seemed to make fans angrier somehow.
Yeah, it's weird. I think the best part of that is when she said that, Alan Moore actually reached out to her to say, like, I'm so glad you broke them up. It made no sense that they were together for that long.
Yeah.
But and she set it up so perfectly through the run because, you'd have Abby talking about how it was harder for her to get into town. And then with Chester leaving, it was like she was going to feel disconnected from humanity and stuff like that. It's it's so expertly and subtly done, all leading up to it.
She does it. She pulls it off really, really well. And I think it's funny because we hear so much from the fans talking about feeling like the cheapening of killing characters and that it's just this rinse and repeat. And even Hickman's entire run was predicated of X-Men is predicated on this idea of death doesn't mean anything. So let's just lean into it and make it mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I suspect that if Nancy Collins was, if this series was coming out today and she did the same thing, I suspect the fans would be equally, again, more angry at the separation than death. It's cool.
Yeah, and what Nancy said made a lot of sense. This idea of, we don't know what happens when you die, but a lot of us have been in a divorce court before.
Yeah.
So I get that, but yeah, it's the stakes don't always have to be these sort of deaths. I mean, and especially when it's a character like an Arcane, it's like, if they killed off Abby, you'd know she was coming back. If they separate Abby from Swamp Thing, it's less obvious that they're going to get back together.
Right, it's true.
And I don't think they did through the rest of that Vertigo run.
No, they were separated for a while, and then when they did they brought it back together. They didn't really bring it back together, right? I mean, it was a very weird kind of retconny way. It was just all different at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an interesting. It struck me as pretty powerful. We still have our guests coming in, but I wanted to hit the topics we're going to be covering tonight. So here we have it. Lots of cool things to discuss. And
that sounds great.
Yeah, we got a lot here. So this is we'll walk through all of this. This would have rolled out much better when our guest arrived. But so we'll repeat the joke. Now,
but that's fine. I heard about that girl with the glue.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy. Joss Whedon allegations. What, did someone allege that Dollhouse was watchable?
I see what you did there.
It's because it's a terrible show.
Yes, yeah, that's right. All right. Well, so for better things, hey, we have our first. That's a cheap joke, but still, I'm gonna torture the guy coming in with this.
That's fine.
Okay, so we get our first Comic-Con or comic convention tomorrow in person, back again. So it's in Kansas City of all places. Is this a good idea, do you think, yet?
It's probably not. If for no other reason, then you're going to have like no one wants to be the first con because you're going to have a lower attendance no matter what you do.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So financially, it's unless they got like a sweetheart deal.
Yeah.
It's probably a pretty bad idea. And also, just throwing this out there, a lot of the people that you'd probably want to meet at a convention probably aren't ready to go to one yet.
That's true. Which is really by, this is the total guest list that they have shown. This isn't like the two main guests. This is all go to the special guests and and Rick is a great guy. And I don't know Daryl, but I'm sure he's great, but
sure.
I don't know how this is exactly going to work. So it feels like it's all downside because not a lot of people are going to show up. So it's going to be seen as a failure.
Yeah.
Or a lot of people will show up and then it will be on the news for, being a super spreader event. So, it's like, what's the upside here?
Yeah, there is absolutely no upside. And the other thing too, like for someone like me, either the show has to be really close by, mm-hmm. or you got to have someone I want to see. Like if like George Perez, Marv Wolfman, Claremont, like if people like that aren't there and this isn't like within like half an hour from me, I'm probably not going to go.
Yeah. Yeah. It is, as they're saying, we are seeing some things pop up. It's weird. I drove by a park today and it was like completely slammed. People are definitely at this point, the walls are breaking down. They want to get out and everything, but it just, it fits up. It fits that weird place where I don't know that people are going to come, but let's add our guests. Hey, Geoff Thorne, how are you tonight? All right. We went too quickly there. Hey, Geoff. All right, he's coming. He's in the chat, but the audio is not here. So we will see that in a moment.
Excellent. But yeah, no, some events are happening. Some are, I just don't. The kind of people I want to see at a comic convention are old, and mm-hmm. they're probably waiting for that vaccine or getting that vaccine first, and they're not. They're a little iffy on on having to be around people that are going to want to shake their hands all day.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. So, you know, it's
I don't know, passing around comics for signings. It feels like it's going to be a tricky situation, but
yeah.
Anyway, can you hear us, Geoff? Okay. Well, we'll figure this out. We're having some technical difficulties here, but he will be in anyway. Again, as people are pointing out in the chat, maybe not the most surprising thing in the world. We gave it away, but glad that he's here with us, and I'm sure we'll be in the mix here in no time. Of course, Future State Green Lantern came out this week, so we're excited to kind of talk about that and get everything going here. But yeah, so it's nice to see. On one hand, I'm glad to see comic conventions slowly inching their way back into the picture, but but this seems like a problem. So
test.
Hey,
yes.
Hello.
How are you? Oh no.
Weird.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Everybody can hear you. Can you hear us? Drat. Okay. Well, we'll get this figured out. So.
Okay, I got the mic.
Hello.
But I'm hearing nothing on the.
All right, we'll let him know.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Oh, Drat. We'll get there. I want to make sure he knows we can hear him. So this is a time that we want him to just start cursing like crazy. So that's definitely what we want to do.
Okay, theoretically we're in. Hold on.
All right, we are.
Yes.
Okay.
But yes. But yeah, I'd love to go to cons again. I obviously, like many of you, have not been to one in at least a year. So,
apologies. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Could you hear me before when I was testing?
Yes.
We could. And
apologies. Dear God.
No problem at all. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us tonight. And it's like the band's back together. It's great.
Yeah.
No worries. What's up, Joe?
Oh, not too much. Enjoying a Jaeger bomb.
you drunkards. I'm driving. I'm designated driver.
Okay. Yes. Good. Yes. He's made a terrible choice.
I don't think I've had one of these since college.
Oh my God.
And it's not good.
I've been here before, so you're safe. You're gonna everyone's gonna get home safe.
Okay. Good. No, we're doing fine. I don't know if we were just talking as you had heard that this is I think the first con of any kind of note that is starting up, and there is a con coming out tomorrow. We were just saying, would you go to this?
Which one? Oh, this one that's on the board?
Yeah, Kansas City.
Generally, I have not left California to go to a convention, so the short answer would probably be no. I don't go to conventions I can't drive to. I've never been. My ticket has never been comped by a company, so it's really a very large logistics issue.
Yes.
But because of COVID, obviously, it'll be a minute before I go back in a crowded room.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're curious how this all works. So we were talking right before you joined. We've got a list of topics here. Just want to throw this out here. Get your out. So here's what we want to chat about tonight. Hopefully, all this stuff lines up with what your interests are.
Okay, Donald Trump. What? I mean, okay. Yeah, I'm good with almost all of this. I don't. let me see what else. Valentine's Day is sexist. Justin Timberlake. I don't care what Justin Timberlake does or does not do. Justin Timberlake can do whatever the hell he wants or not. I don't care. Why is there so much snow? That chick who glued her hair. Sure, we can make fun of her because she's a moron. I have no sympathy. Don't care. I guess we're fine.
We're fine. Yeah. At some point, I'm going to do some interview and I'm going to say, so tell me about, I'm going to throw this out and it's going to be this very dry humor. And the person I'm talking to is just not going to have it at all and immediately leave. I look forward to that amazing day, but
that'll be good. You should do that to like Roy Thomas. He'd probably go for that.
Perfect. That's the right way to do it. Ron Mars comes on and we go right into, Anyway, no, we did have some actual comic things. I'm curious what you guys thought about it. So Milestone, finally, Holy hell.
God, it took long enough, didn't it? Jesus.
When when did they first start announcing this? It's been at least a year, hasn't it?
Oh,
I think 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Like it's been a while. The static thing was they were talking about a static show.
Yeah.
Like what, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago?
Yeah,
like,
Kyle Baker was supposed to write and draw, I think, a static comic like a couple of years ago. Like,
yeah. There was, I mean, they made a lot of noise early on as soon as I guess whatever the legal stuff that was going on backstage, as soon as that was settled, which was a long time ago now.
Yep.
They were like, okay, we can, start your engines. And then it was like, okay, my engines are started. I'm running out of gas. What's going on?
Oh my God. Did you watch that AMC documentary on Milestone that Robert Kirkman did?
No.
It's amazing because Michael Davis is in it for like most of it, and then he just disappears in the last like 10 minutes of the documentary.
Oh, Michael. The controversial Michael Davis, God bless him.
Yeah, I've met him before. He's got a lot of energy.
He's a pistol, as my grandparents used to say. But he's also the reason that Christopher Priest was not part of Milestone.
Right.
That's true. He personally is the reason. It's like, if he's going to be here, I'm out, guys. And I was like, holy crap. Like, what's that about? Yeah. Like, I don't know what that story is, but I do know that story. That's for real. So whatever.
It's now, do you think it will do well? Like, is it something that is just
sight unseen. Mm-hmm. I can't really make a comment. I don't know what creators are involved, except who's overseeing it all, because that's from the press. I feel like original Milestone, again, we're long in the tooth. That was during the era of a lot of startup companies.
Yes,
and most of the companies failed. And to its credit, Milestone lasted almost to the end of the boom. Like they held on almost right to the end. Other companies folded long before. And I feel that what we have now as the comics press is more sophisticated. At the time, I don't know that the general comics press gave it the chance it deserved. It was very much couched as a sort of a FUBU, for us, by us, like white people need not apply type of endeavor. But when you actually look at the books, it is the opposite of that. It's more like a Sesame Street endeavor with, a couple of prominent black leads, but they had Cuban characters, first transgender character, gay characters front and center, non-stereotypical, weird world events. Like the Iron Butterfly character is a freaking Gulf War Arab survivor of the Gulf War. Like, what? One of their teams, the Shadow Cabinet, is led by a South Asian man. Like, it was. Don't even get me started on Zombie. Just Zombie alone.
Zombie's great,
right? So I feel like if they have the similar sensibility, which Dwayne McDuffie's attitude was, everybody who can play should be allowed to play. The big two companies are not really letting us all play, so we're going to let us all play. That was basically the thought process there. I don't know what the new thought process is. If it is really like a check out all these black folks, it will die. Yeah. I feel. Yeah. I don't feel that I'm not in the audience for that. And if I'm not, I don't know that there's an audience for that. So
yeah, I only know a little bit more about what's going on behind the scenes, just from people. Nothing I can talk about, but it sounds like they're really pushing to get some things moving, but yeah, I mean, some of the creators that Milestone had over the years, like Matty Blostein and Ivan Velez and people like that, done groundbreaking work. I mean, some of the earliest, like J.H. Williams III work was done at
Chris Cross.
Milestone.
They broke Chris Cross. There's a lot of people. If I had it off the top of my head, which I don't, but there are a lot of people that are either reasonably big or certainly well known now that Milestone broke. Like,
Humberto Ramos, right?
Yep, Humberto Ramos was in there, and not because they were scrambling for jobs. It wasn't like they weren't at that point going back and forth between Milestone and DC or Milestone and Marvel. It was them. It was part of their break-in era. A lot of these guys,
for sure,
but. I think some of them, Chris Cross most prominently, probably got further faster because of Milestone.
Yeah.
So,
Do you find it weird? So they're rebooting for all intents and purposes. It feels like they're losing a lot. I mean, as we were talking about the creators and kind of some of the things we were done and some of the groundbreaking stuff. I mean, granted, it would have been harder to kind of just pick it all up and keep going.
Yeah,
but it feels like something's. I feel sad that they're going to be losing stuff.
I like I said, I don't know what they're actually doing, but I was a little bit concerned about the one shot they put out, because some of the things that they're sort of revamping and omitting, I'm like, it isn't okay. I'm of two minds about it. One is, it's not fair to hold these guys up against the example and the ethos of Dwayne McDuffie. Dwayne McDuffie is kind of like Alan Moore or somebody like that. Most of us are not in that weight class. So like, I don't put myself in that weight class. Most other Neil Gaiman, Alan Moore, Dwayne McDuffie, that crowd of creator, I'm not certain I'm anywhere near that. So to hold that standard up and say, if you don't do this, you're a failure. That's like saying, if you're not Da Vinci, you're a failure. That's not fair, right? Right? So I'm willing to give them the shot of, all right, you're going to omit certain things that I think were kind of fundamental to a Milestone V1, but let's see what you replace them with, and then it's up to you to carry the ball. There are elements of what's going on in modern life that are fairly volatile in different ways, so they will require nuance. And Milestone version 1 seemed capable of threading the needle back then. Yes. It depends on the creatives involved. It really just depends on, can they do it?
I hope so. I mean, I have a lot of fond memories of Milestone. I liked what they did. I thought they did a lot of groundbreaking stuff. It was something different. You could turn to those comics and you got a different experience, and that was cool.
Yeah. So something interesting too, is Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas was a big Icon fan, and he used to write them letters, like a decent amount about how much you like the character, and so you did have like a wide spectrum of people interested in those comics, but it also wasn't without its controversies. I mean, I know people who worked at DC at the time who will tell you that they got plenty of death threats for just publishing books.
Absolutely. And some legitimate, like, they pushed the envelope on a couple of things. They had a teen pregnancy, they had characters having sex, people were murdering each other. The whole queer spectrum stuff that they just were like, they didn't say, hey, dig us, we're doing queer characters in our comics. I think in a weird way, this is before, by the way, we saw Lord Fanny and that crowd show up in the Invisibles. The stuff that they did sort of, all right, this is just the world, deal with it. That got them a lot of flack, right? Are you promoting lesbianism? This other character turns out to be transgender. This gay guy is the leader of one of your crews. One of your crews is an actual street gang? What the hell is that? There was some basic, I think they were being provocateurs in some ways, and then other ways they were not. They were just saying, this is the world we live in, so we're going to show it. And I think they got a lot of heat for that. I don't know that they'd get the same kind of heat now. I think DC very specifically kind of ripped them off in a couple of instances, like the Donner and Blitzen. That's a straight Grace Choi and what's his name's Black Lightning's kid that are dating. That's a straight ripoff of Donner and Blitzen. It's not even subtle. Okay, but the climate in the audience now, I don't know that a lot of the stuff that was controversial then would be controversial now. I
think it would be in the same way. I think what I think we'd see now is what we didn't see then. I think you'd see a lot of PR. You'd see a lot of people outside of the company writing a million and one articles about why this is important. And so you'd see this natural backlash. If you tell people you've got to pay attention to this is good. You have a natural personality instinct to I want the opposite. So you'd see a backlash to that, but I don't think you'd see the same kind of stuff that they went through back then.
And again, they did not lead with, it was the press coming at them with it. You guys are all black, so this is going to be a black endeavor, blah, 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 blah. So they were constantly on the defensive about that. But if you look at what they actually did, they weren't really, that wasn't the t-shirt they were wearing. theoretically, if you just do it like they did it then, now the audience actually, I think, will be more receptive rather than less.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah, and it's interesting too with the Black Lightning ripping off, Milestone after DC kind of pushed Trevor Von Eden to the side.
I know, man.
Like
God, man. And there was this other character, can't remember his name, but in Milestone there was the character Holocaust, the bad guy from the Blood Syndicate, right? Yeah. Literally within a year, and I remember Ron Friends drew him. Nothing against Ron, because there's no way he came up with this character to do this. He was told to do this, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. They came up with a character in the Superman comics, and I forget what he was called. He was literally Holocaust, but dressed in green. And I was like, even the costume was the same. I was like, guys, are we not supposed to notice this? What the hell?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, and then just, with like Trevor Von Eden, it's like they take Black Lightning from him, and then Frank Miller takes his girl. Like
what?
The whole Lynn Varley thing.
I don't know anything. See, thank God I don't know any of this backstage stuff.
Yeah.
Oh dear God, no, man, no. Oh my God!
We'll have to get together when the comics start shipping with Milestone and chat about it, because let's just let me
absolutely.
We have this question for a while back, Geoff. We promised to buy DC Comics. Don't kill Hal. So.
All right. I promise you that I will not kill Hal Jordan.
Oh, there you go. You heard it here. So
I've been saying this point blank, and now that Future State's out, we can discuss a bit more. Like it's over with. Hal is not getting killed. Hal's not getting killed. Guy is not getting killed. Okay. Jessica Cruz, not getting killed. Okay. Simon Baz, not getting killed. Who else? Kyle Rayner, not getting killed. Okay. This is not that kind of party, guys. It just isn't. So, I don't know how much more plainly I can say that without expressing the plot points, which I'm not going to do.
I don't know.
I'm not coming in here to murder the lanterns that are your favorites. I'm going to murder a whole bunch of other lanterns.
There you go. I don't know. Bleeding Cool said you were going to kill him, so I don't know. We'll have to see.
You know what? Well, that's a weird thing. I told you, in our private conversation, I really am liking a lot of the covers and the solicits for the books, but I'm urging everyone not to take this stuff literally. Like the solicits are selling to retailers. The fact that the audience has access to the solicits is nice and fun, but you should not read that as an advertisement or a description, a synopsis of what's happening in the book. And the cover for issue number 1, my personal choice would have been to flip the Bernard Chang cover to the alt, to the variant, and use the Brian Hitch cover as the actual cover, because it's more reflective of the tone of the book. What happens on the cover of the Chang cover is it sort of occurs in the story, but to place any image from a story on the cover makes it seem like that's the most important thing about the story.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you that is basically the least important thing that happens in this book. And it happens in such a small way that even the way it's depicted, it's fun and it's interesting and sort of the tone of that moment, sort of. But even when you get to that moment, you're going to be like, that's not exactly what the cover said it was going to be. Yeah. So,
the solicits are largely so terrible in what's written there. I mean this in the sense that the solicits don't tell you what's going on in the book. They're not, and I know I insulted a bunch of editors and probably other people when I said that, but it's like the solicits, if you're gauging the book off the solicits at this point, 20 years ago, sure, but today it's, half the time they're cutesy jokes that have nothing to do with the comic at all. Come on, it's less useful. So any lanterns you didn't mention are dead, is what people say.
Well, no, I just read that. Let me stress this, guys. This is the fun of the Green Lantern universe. All right. Kilowog is not getting killed in the first 5 issues.
Oh, God.
No. The Green Lantern Corps is 7,200 individuals, or if you count the Puffball Collective, 7,200 plus whatever many number of puffballs there are, right? We've never met most of them.
Yeah.
Like the vast majority of Green Lanterns are unknown. So when I say I'm going to kill a bunch of Green Lanterns, just don't tell me any specific names. Because if I say, oh, this person is present in this particular place when this other event occurs, if you make, oh, I want to see my favorite character, right? Okay, well, I'm assembling a bunch of Green Lanterns.
So, I love that this has become fun. I just and this is the fun we should. This is the fun we should have with comics. This is,
but yeah, like yes, there will be devastation, wreak havoc upon the Green Lantern Corps. But whenever you're worried about, or at least this is what I used to tell myself as a fan before I was writing any of this stuff, and I would start to feel myself getting tense about who's going to die. Like when they killed Superman, or Batman's back gets broken and they replaced him for a while with the Azrael dude. Like, I'm like, at first I'm like, oh my God, they actually did it. You know, like it's 3 months in and he's still not back. Holy crap. Yeah. You know, but then you have to start to realize the company's invested decades in these characters. They're not like, no individual writer is going to come in and permanently kill Guy or even Kilowog, who's never had his own book. They're too iconic to the franchise. So even if I were to kill Kilowog, let's say I chose to kill Kilowog, okay, he's dead as long as I'm writing the book, right? And then someone will revive him, or something will happen in the real world. Like say the show is doing great, everybody loves Kilowog, but I killed him 2 months ago, right? DC would almost certainly come to me like, you got to resurrect Kilowog. I'm like, yeah, but he got an axe in the face. I don't know how you come back from that. You know, it's like, we don't care. Figure it out. You got to bring him back. Everyone loves Kilowog. He needs to come back.
This is why what you have to do is just have Kilowog divorce Swamp Thing. And then everything's fun.
So the fun of the book is going to be seeing a lot of Lanterns you've never seen, a lot of relationships you've never seen, new villains, completely new sets of villains, new sets of allies, and new relationships between people that you might have thought were villains or allies that will shift a bit too. I also would not necessarily, I wouldn't mind seeing someone write a book about the afterlife of dead Lanterns.
Yeah.
I think that would be a fun book to see. And now that you've written that, there's a story there that might start spinning up in my head. I don't know that I will do anything about it in this book right now, but that's fascinating. All right, here's a free story someone else can do something with.
Please.
You get all these Green Lantern rings. Everybody who wears them, theoretically, the Green Lantern rings are sort of directly linked to you, your nervous system, your thought processes, and they keep a version of a recording of everything you do while you're wearing the ring, right? So they can make an exact perfect copy of you for the next Lantern, which makes sense, and I don't know why people haven't done this. So let's say Abin Sur dies, hands off the ring to Hal. Who trains Hal how to use the ring? The ghost of Abin Sur. Hal dies, and whoever the ring comes to after him, the ghost of Hal Jordan that's stored in the ring teaches that person how to use the ring from Hal's point of view.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Right? But speaking of an afterlife, theoretically, there could also be some collective sort of, what was that thing, Unimatrix Zero in Star Trek? Of all of the Lanterns who have, sort of like the high evolutionary of Lanterns, only it's the afterlife for the Lanterns. There's a whole lot of story juice in that. Like, that's a whole set of adventures. You don't even need to ever refer to the living Lanterns. You could set an entire Green Lantern story just in the Green Lantern afterlife and some threat that's coming there.
Yeah, I love this idea.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. So I'm not going to do that for at least a year. Feel free. Anyone who wants to go do it, go have a ball. Like, I'm good with that.
Somebody should do it.
Yes. Nice. In terms of who's living or dying, yes, there will be mayhem, but for the most part, the most that's going to happen to your favorite characters will be they'll be off screen a lot, or they might get maimed.
Okay.
But even the maiming is, I'm just not here for that. The story isn't that.
We're looking for excellent. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I think I like your book. And no, I'm saying that because you're on the channel. I don't.
Oh, and I don't expect you to ever do that. Never be nice to me.
No. I've told creators I didn't like their book before.
Great. I won't worry about it. Like, I don't worry about that.
I'm interested to see what you have to do. I think it's time to have this shakeup. I think the worry that people have with Hal, I'm guessing, is that they see Hal as as slipping into a Wally West type
Nope.
constant repeat.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
And not with you, which is awesome. But that is I think there's this temptation, and both companies do it, where it's like it's like with Tony Stark. Like, how many times are you going to be tempted by alcohol? It's like
Oh God.
I get you, but please, no more storylines like that.
Yeah. I agree with that. And people, I mean, it's weird because of the weird controversy about my opinions about Hal. I've become aware of like a lot of places where these conversations are had, and I've checked in to see what people are saying, and I get what their concerns are. And my response is sort of frosty, which is I'm not that crappy of a writer to do that.
Yeah.
Like I have no interest in beating up Hal Jordan or making him look bad or any of the others. I simply prefer John. Like, and if somebody else comes after me and prefers Jessica, I'm not going to get mad at them for focusing the book on Jessica. Hal is not going the Wally route. I never understood that. I don't get it.
I mean, hopefully, the title takes off. People have some interest in it, and it's like, hey, let's do another book. I mean,
wouldn't that be great to have
a Hal book, have a John Stewart book? We've had it before.
Yeah. I would hope to write it well enough that people are like, well, by the way, this is a science fiction story, guys. I'm introducing a bunch of concepts that DC was like, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Like throwaway lines. They're like, is that something you're going to follow up on? What was that? Just a random line? Like there's no random lines, as Perch will attest. There's nothing random about the dialogue in my stories. I
definitely think, and then we have a question that the guy really wants me to ask you, but if we're reading this book, actually, let me ask you this. Would it ever be possible has anybody at DC, like the editor, ever like do a director's cut version where you go through the pages like this is referring to this is an Easter egg to this?
I would kill to do that. You know what probably would happen? They've done things like that in the past. Like in the long past, not recently. But what I would do is basically release a script, like do it like if the book were to take off and they did some sort of weird omnibus, then I would say we should also put a copy of my original annotated script in the back, and then send me a copy, and I'll literally put handwritten notes in. This is where I got this notion. This is what this connects to. There are just a lot of weird Easter eggs that are going to be throughout this book. What is this question? What is this?
This is you're making.
Oh, the Green Lantern. All right, here was my pitch for the Green Lantern book, because a movie that never got pitched to anyone.
Oh yeah.
Everyone, I think we can all agree the first Green Lantern movie was terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. Fans of Hal, fans of John, everyone watched that movie like, what the hell is this? This is some nonsense. Yeah. But it exists. So what I thought was just build on that. You start with that version of Hal. Now you're going to hate me because this one does kill Hal. Okay. Because we all hated the Ryan Reynolds version of Hal. It was like a fake kind of mashup of Hal and Kyle and none of the good aspects of either, from my point of view, right? And his sense of humor is not right for that character. So all the ad-libbing and stuff he does doesn't really work for Hal, right? But we have Hal in that universe. And we set up that he was going to be off fighting, the Parallax War, right? So we start with the Parallax War in the second movie. We start with that Hal Jordan from the first movie, and you think it's going to be another Ryan Reynolds festival, right? Except the forces of Sinestro and Parallax kill him, and his ring pops off his finger and heads back to Earth.
Yeah.
And when it shows up, it's in Afghanistan, and John, this particular kind of a Marine, gets the ring comes to him, and he gets it in the middle of a really bad battle, and his people are pinned down, and it's a mess, and they're probably going to die. And the company commander is basically like, we need to pull out. And he's like, I got 8 guys still in there. They're hemmed up, but none of them are hurt. Yeah, sorry, that city's about to go. We're out, right? And he goes in to get them anyway, and that's when he gets the ring. And he gets them all out, and he comes back, and he's close to court-martialed because it's not the first time he's done something like this, where he's directly disobeyed an order, but you can't really fire him because he just rescued 10 guys. Yeah. You can't keep doing this, so you're on waivers. And then he's like, what's going on with this ring? And who pops out? Funny ass Ryan Reynolds.
Okay, nice.
Right. And so you get a section of the movie where it's Ryan Reynolds talking him through what the Guardians are, what his responsibilities are. You're a Marine, you know how this works, all that kind of stuff. And they maybe solve a couple of problems, so you can see him in action. It looks really easy and it's fun. Right. And then he's like, you're not telling me something. How did I get this ring? You're a guy from LA or wherever. Why do you not have this ring? Oh, I'm dead. What? Yeah, this is really just the ring interface. I'm the last guy. So it's talking to you like this because I was sent here to get somebody from here. Why? Because Sinestro's coming. Sinestro and Parallax are coming. The rest of the Corps is out there fighting them, and I don't think they're going to win. So I need to train you up, and you need to know everything. And he's like, but it's a magic ring. I can do anything I want. So he gets a little overconfident. And then the Sinestro Corps shows up and beats the hell out of everybody. John goes up there thinking I'm badass military dude. And he gets spanked because Sinestro is wearing all the rings of these dead lanterns he's killed, plus his yellow ring. And he just beats the living crap out of John. This
is a much better movie.
Right. Yes. Now here's your ending. Gloss over. By the way, Jessica Cruz is in this story. Guy Gardner's in this story. Simon's in this story. They're not exactly as they are in the comics. Jessica was part of his regiment. Guy was part of his regiment. Simon was one of the quote unquote enemy forces. He's not an American. He's an actual Arab. He's not an Arab American in this version of the story. But it's because it's the movies and they already screwed everything up with Kyle, so you can do whatever you want. But blah 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 blah. So at some point, John's on the deck. He's had the crap kicked out of him. Sinestro's doing the bad guy gloat. He's been beaten so badly that all the green energy that makes the costume, that's all bled away. He's just a guy in jeans and a t-shirt. And one of the tropes in my fiction has been the bad guy always thinks the thing that they always try to do is make you feel like you're just the only person like you. Like, why would you think I have these forces arrayed against you? And you thought you were going to appear by yourself and beat us. How dare you, you little speck? And he's like, first of all, I'm no speck. And secondly, what makes you think I'm alone? And then you realize, looking past him, because he's on the deck of this space cruiser and below him the Earth has been spinning, you see all these little tiny green lights lighting up all over the Earth because Green Lantern rings can temporarily make other Green Lantern rings. So it turns out that all John was doing, sort of like what he did in Future State, is I'm up here to get your focus on me while the ghost of Hal Jordan trains up all these recruits, and a whole slew of human Green Lanterns fly off of the Earth, beat the living shit out of the Sinestro Corps. Parallax abandons them because they're worthless now, flies off into space to find other people to do whatever Parallax does with people. And then John stands up, cracks his knuckles. Sinestro's depowered. It's just two guys. And he says, let's try that again.
That would have been a good movie.
Right. And then it's just these two guys duking it out on the deck. And Sinestro is formidable. It's not like he's a pushover. It's still a fight. Right. And he's like, I don't even keep my organs where you keep your organs. You idiot. You're punching me in the wrong places. I'm still going to win. Right. And he finally, of course, wins because that's who the movie's about. And that would have been my second movie.
It would have made sense. So that sounds great. It's funny, the chat all turned on you with having a lot more Green Lanterns, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but the Green Lantern energy goes away from them. They're not all permanently Green Lanterns. It's Perfect. Just for this battle. Yes. Then he becomes Green Lantern. And the other thing it does subsequently is John is identified as he is in the comics. He has no secret identity. Everyone on Earth knows he's Green Lantern.
That's nice.
Right.
It would have made sense because at the time, the animated series was going. People knew Jon Stewart, I would say, arguably more than Hal, the non-comic readers. I don't know. It would have fit. They should have you.
Yeah. Well, they're never going to, and I'm not in a position to pitch that movie, which is why I pitched it here. But
there you go.
When I'm a TV guy for the most part, and there's not a lot of crossover, I'd have to make my bones on another movie first. Someone asked in the chat, how do you get the big two to notice you? My secret was have a gigantic film career, but I don't know if you want to go that route. But no, the real secret is people have to stop thinking of that as the end state. I had to teach myself this too. What you need to do is make your comics. You need to get your friends together, digitally make comics, go on Webtoons and post up comics there, however you want to do it. If you want to, if you want to do it, it sounds small and it sounds like the mealy mouth, horrible way. Make your bones with your stuff. Robert Kirkman, Brian Michael Bendis, these people's names are known because they had spent years in the indie world making names for themselves.
Yeah.
And at some point, Marvel and or DC will tap you. Hey, you're a guy. Or even better, some artists you became great friends with and worked with on some small project, they blow up way faster than we do because they can show up at a convention and just show some awesome artwork. Yeah. And they're like, wow, look at your sequentials. Please come work for us.
Well, I think it's one of things, it's and as I hear this over and over, it's like it's no guarantee you're going to get in, but if you do nothing, you are guaranteeing you're not getting in.
If the secret of entertainment, and it sucks, and it's really unfair, and it's just like literally straight up bullshit. You can be an amazing whatever you are, but if no one else has ever paid you to do it, no one wants to be first to pay you to do it.
True.
So what they'll say is what else you got all the time. So if you've got anything under your belt, even if they've never heard of the company, I promise you, because a lot of the stuff I had at first was from companies that had already dissolved by the time I was putting them on my resume. Like they all, how fly by night it was back then. And there was no way for anyone to even go check to see if the publishing company had hired me in the first place. Like, so
Geoff Thorne says lie in your resume. Got it. Okay.
No, tell the truth. But
I'm joking.
But see, it's so much easier now. Like when I found Webtoons, I just put up free comics whenever I feel like it because I feel like it. I don't feel like charging people for stuff that I'm not putting that much into. I mean, I'm putting something into them because it takes time, but I'm just doing them whenever I feel like it. So there's no regular schedule. There's no big sort of overarching anything. It's not me starting up a company or anything. I just feel like doing it, so I put them up there. That didn't exist when I started making comics.
Right.
So the horrible, boring secret is you have to make product to get noticed.
Yep. Just like in the drug trade. Exactly.
Yes, exactly like that. Yeah. Give them a taste and then make them pay for the next hit. That's exactly right.
I feel bad. I've been this guy's been asking this question for like a half an hour now. He wants to know what are your thoughts on the Geoff John run?
What Geoff Johns?
The Geoff Johns Green Lantern.
Oh, well, overall, I would like to discuss the other creators of Green Lantern while I'm on the book. What I will say is some of that stuff was fire. The Blackest Night was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of it was stuff I didn't care about. I liked the what was the one? I liked the Sinestro Core War.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
I liked, what was the other one where they met the first Lantern? I liked that.
It was called the First Lantern, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then the one where some of them got trapped on the other side of the source wall.
Right.
And then John's leading these guys to the source wall. And they open it up and Hal's there. And he's like, great, it's Hal. And he slams the door on them. He's like, what the hell? I was like, oh, man.
That was
like,
good.
Yeah, so there's some fun stuff. Yeah. I like Geoff Johns overalls. I loved him on Justice Society.
Yeah.
He was great on Justice Society. I really like the initial parts of Stargirl, although ultimately that's not a character I really follow. It's not the kind of character I just really follow, but I thought he wrote her very well. And I didn't have any problems overall with what he did with introducing all the different lanterns and the different colors and all that. I thought that was an interesting innovation.
Expanded first quite a bit.
Yeah, he definitely expanded the universe about it. But if there's a single drawback about that is a problem with comics in general and not specific to Geoff. Oh, I know what this is about. It's because I said Geoff Johns' opinion is irrelevant. Of course it's irrelevant. So Stan Lee's opinion, that's also irrelevant. So is Jack Kirby's opinion irrelevant. Everyone who's not currently writing the book, their opinion is irrelevant. So
that's a weird way to look at it, but I agree. You have to wrap your head around what you just said, but what you just said is true. You just have to make sure you're listening to it properly.
Yeah. So I think that the problem is that the same thing happened with The Dark Knight. certain revamps of different characters. Daredevil got really dark for a while as well. It's because once you hit a note that you can tell the audience really, really digs, the company doesn't have an impetus to want to move away from hitting that note. Exactly. They're going to hit that note over and over and over again. You're like, Jesus Christ, are you still hitting that note? Now it's time to move, right? Yeah. It's like, now they're sick of it. Let's get something else, right? But with the Green Lantern Corps, the problem became to me, and it might not be a problem. A lot of people clearly love this, but for me as a reader, it just was always just about the Green Lantern Corps, like something they did to each other, something that they screwed up in the past, or them fighting one of the other corps, you know. And I was like, I guess this is fun, but I wanted to be like out saving the universe from things that they didn't create, like unknown things, like somebody that scares them, that isn't just a guy in another colored lantern suit. Right. You know, like after a while I was like, oh God, again. Like, so that's as a reader. And then so when I stopped reading, I had to go back and catch up to write this book in some ways just to make sure I was up to date on things, because at some point I checked out. But that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with those things, because they were successful. Lots of people liked them. It just wasn't something I wanted to stick with. So for me, that's why you're not going to see a lot of like, oh, what are the various lantern colors now? What are the yellows doing? They're going to be somewhat in the book. You're not going to see really any orange lantern activity. Sorry about it. I don't care about Larfeeze at all. So unless I get some really weird thing where I need the orange lanterns, you're not going to see them. Red lanterns, I mean, I'm going to have a whole bunch of other villains. So, I mean, as needed, I suppose, but they're not high on my list either. The Indigo Tribe, they're crazy. They're just out there being Indigo Tribe people. So, again, if the story requires them, I might bring one of them in, but don't look for them, because if they're your favorite, you'd probably be disappointed. They're not. If they show up, it won't be for much to do.
I think that's the traps of Green Lantern, is that there are so many elements to it, and fans all have different parts that they're
exactly that.
And so people are like, I've got to touch on all of these things, and pretty soon you have no story. You're just
you can't, and you can't service everything. You just can't. Someone's going to be disappointed. Someone's going to be mad about, why did you kill Chip? Like, I didn't kill Chip. Well, he's not in the book. He was dead before it's your fault.
Yeah.
Sure. And to build on your point too, like a lot of creators, like an example for me is someone like Paul Levitz wrote some of my all-time favorite Legion stories, but the stories he has liked since being on the book do not align with a lot of the stories I like. Right. He's been on the book, and his opinion is incredibly valid, and he could explain to you very clearly the reasons he likes these certain things and doesn't like other things. And we can both exist at the same time.
Yes. Yes, you can. Yes. Oh my God. What the hell? How dare you? But I mean, Perch and I are both deep Legion fans. And one of the things that Green Lantern tribalism, you guys did not invent tribalism. The freaking Legion of Superheroes invented comic book tribalism. Okay. After that first reboot of the Legion, which was a soft reboot, which was in the 70s, when Grell and Cockrum were drawing it, it was on like Donkey Kong between the various factions. Okay. But what I always say is everyone gets their Legion. There's so many different reboots of the freaking Legion. I can't tell the guys who love the Mark Waid Legion that they're idiots. Like Supergirl and the Legion, there are people who love that version, and we got some interesting stuff out of it. Like, what's his name? I like what they did with Colossal Boy, turning him into Micro Lad. Mm-hmm. Right? He's if you don't know, guys, he's from a planet of giants, and his superpower is he can shrink to the size of a normal human being. But since the whole rest of the galaxy is normal size human beings, they think his power is to grow to giant size. And I just thought that was delightful.
Yeah.
Just crazy stuff like that. And I like my favorite is obviously the Giffen and the Giffen Beer Bomb.
Yeah.
Second after that, probably maybe a tie between Levitz and the Abnett and Lanning.
Yeah.
For different reasons. But other people were like, I don't care about anything after Kurt Swan. Like, I don't want to hear it. And I'm like, really? That was what, 1958? What are you talking about? You know? So I just feel like there's room. And I just feel like there's room. Comics are supposed to be fun. Superhero comics are supposed to be fun, even when they're devastation, even when it's, you know, the story of the Crisis on Infinite Earths, where a lot of characters, the children don't understand what that was like because everything's a freaking crossover now. But a lot of long-term characters died. When Barry died in the Crisis, even people who only barely liked the Flash were like, wait, they killed the Flash? And he stayed dead. Wally became the freaking Flash and stayed the Flash. Like, they were not kidding around. That was like Ripple. Like, if Twitter had existed then, holy crap. Well,
that's I mean, it's funny. I hear some creators talk about how this is a new problem, and this has been that the fans are just now turned opinionated and angry, and it's like, if you never went into a store in the early 90s, I mean, hey, come on. Social media, if it was around back then, people would have been losing their complete minds over a lot of this stuff.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It would have been a complete mess.
If the New 52 happened in the last couple of years instead of 2011, it would have been a huge difference. It was bad enough going to shops, and, you know, I would see people and hear people say, like, I'm done with Superman. He doesn't have the trunks. I don't care. I don't care if they get Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons doing the run. I'm not going back. He's got to have the trunks. I mean,
What about the great mullet controversy? They don't even want to talk about that. Oh my God. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like superhero comics in specific, my rule is this: even if it's a story of devastation, if you're supposed to come out of it with hope. You're supposed to come out of it thinking the good guys always win. Like, at the end of the day, the good guys will win. It's just going to be a lot. We're going to put them through it. But at the end of the day, and it's partly they win because they're good guys. Like, because they're morally good. That's part of why they win. So
that's it. I don't know. I like your Green Lantern. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm a, like you named it. I'm a sucker for a lot of these callbacks, and it does. That's the key to my heart, man. You want to call back to that kind of stuff, you can win me over with any kind of nonsense.
All right. We could put this down and talk about. You have so many things. Someone wrote in the chat, like, you guys are ignoring your freaking PowerPoint board. Just for you, Perch. I specifically named the bald black guy who works for Belu Ken's. His last name is Digby.
Nice.
1,000 years from now, his great, whatever that is, granddaughter is Shrinking Violet.
Beautiful.
Right? Beautiful. That's the level of Easter egg you're going to need to look for in these books. I wish comics leaned into the Easter eggs more. I hate this new thing of, like, we can't go too deep into the continuity. We'll confuse people. You can do both. You can have a story and you can do these kinds of nods to things. It doesn't have to be a big deal, but it's so cool. But it's fun. I would say, if anything, don't do it too much, because then you're just being stupid. But
don't be meta all the time.
You want to send people to the back issue bins. You want them to go and look for the story you're referencing.
Well, that's a whole other irritation. But yes, I completely agree with you. Like you and this is why, you know, going back to Milestone, I'll loop it back to the PowerPoint.
There you go.
Go back to Milestone, like get those collected and sell them.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I don't know what the rights issues are exactly, but I do wish that they had this knowledge they were going to do this for so long, have trades and omnibuses of different runs, like, ready to go, you know, and get people excited about the universe again. I feel like just dropping people in cold after all this time is going to prevent the sales from being as high as they could be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, probably so. Another drawback, and we're going to probably always be talking about this, is because of internet or social media access to creators. The creators take a lot of the brunt of, why did you market it this way? Why didn't it do this? Like, we're not involved in those decisions. Like, literally not involved at all. I don't know why they didn't tell you all of these things that you should have been told.
I wish people would understand. I get people who argue aggressively. I do, and it's these are probably the points I'm most exhausted when I do the videos. And I do like comments, and I like when people argue with me and all the rest. But the part that frustrates me so much is this exact topic. It's, well, this writer should have gotten that omnibus out. It's like that. No control over that.
Yeah,
I know a lot of writers who are like, yes, please put my omnibus out.
Sure. That's more money for me. I would love for them to put out a freaking omnibus. Yeah. But yeah, so
that's crazy. All right, okay, we could go through these. A lot of these are dull anyway, but Doctor Doom, good or bad in Guardians of the Galaxy? Up for that?
Oh, I just noticed that. You know, I have to see how they execute it. I see that there's like a giant Guardians of the Galaxy team.
Yeah,
it's not just the original core group. It's got like 3 different sets.
Yeah.
So I have to see. It's so weird. I was thinking about this in advance of coming on your show because you always have interesting topics. But there's all this left-right conversation.
What?
I know. So sad. Poor sad people. I'm more of a traditionalist in a lot of ways. So I like villains to be villains. And I'm not a big sympathy for the devil guy.
Yeah.
So like, I'm never going to be a Magneto fan. I'm never going to find Doctor Doom sexy. I think they're horrible monsters who need to be beat down and put in prison. Like, and so they shall be portrayed whenever I'm writing them. But
make villains villainous again.
Yeah, God, I'm pro villain in that sense. Like, I want bad guys, real bad guys who. Yeah. I don't want them to call themselves the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants because that's stupid. Why would you name yourself evil? You don't think of yourself as evil. Yeah. But you should be nakedly having a ball being a bastard, like unapologetic. This is for me because I'm me. Like, all of these guys have real agendas that, like, Dr. Doom is a great, interesting character because, he's a son of a bitch. The reason he's a son of a bitch, right, is because he thinks the world should be run by me. I'm the smartest. I'm the best. You're all stupid, right? If you would just shut up and let me drive, essentially, you'd be living in a paradise. And the only rule would be don't fuck with me, right? That's not a bad set of rules. I don't even care if you fuck with each other. Just don't fuck with my rules.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Let me run the planet. No, Doc, you can't have it. Oh, well, I guess it's on then.
They should have just kept
you got so much love for this little commentary, I gotta tell you.
Just keep Dr. Doom defeated from Fantastic Four 200 and leave it at that.
Now, with that said, again, if you're old enough, you'll remember the couple of times that the FF went to Latveria. A couple of times, right? They were surprised. They were like, these folks are, they seem like they're doing okay. Like, I thought it was going to be like a concentration camp up in here, but I mean, it's strict, but they seem okay, and it was kind of a weird sort of turn it on its head type story. Those stories are great because it's still about fascism. It's still about, a brutal dictator.
Right.
But being in Latveria can sometimes benefit you if you please the boss. So that was an interesting thing. But yes, that's exactly right, John Murphy. Good guys should be good and win. Bad guys should be bad and lose. Exactly. It's not freaking rocket science.
It's a simple formula. Don't mess with the formula. I don't know. All right.
So
here, let's get rid of this. Hey, all right. 3 pages. So new comics fit onto 3 pages next week. This is next Wednesday, I guess next Tuesday and Wednesday with DC going out on Tuesday. Here's our first list. I don't know if anybody in chat wants any of these. I don't know how much are you keeping up with any of these? I'm
looking.
Oh wow, it's actually coming out, huh?
Yeah, I know. It's a special day in February. Yeah.
Darkwing, Savage Circus, My Little Pony. Oh, Star Trek Year 5. I can't comment one way or the other. Friends of mine are writing that, but I get it religiously. So I really like that book, but I would anyway because I like all the writers anyway. What else is on here? People have been saying really good things about Abbott, but I haven't picked it up, so I have to go wait till it's over and sort of pick it up and trade, I guess. Let's see, what else am I looking at?
And Joe, you too. Is there anything on here?
Yeah, I'm looking. I mean, I'll read Last Ronin #2. I'll pick that up since I read the first one already, and I'm just looking at this other stuff. People really like these Power Ranger comics, huh?
Yeah, go figure. Yeah.
Once in Future. That's good.
Is that a King Arthur thing?
Yeah.
That's a good book. Yeah.
Yeah,
We Live is
solid.
We Live needs somebody to come in there and market it a little bit. I mean, it's a good book. It's flying under the radar.
Well, these companies, you guys, like, I don't know Black Box Comics. I don't know Floating World Comics.
Yeah.
I don't know Writers and Artisans Inc. I never heard of them.
That's it's AWA. So that
AWA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
those three I don't know.
But like Zombie Tramp's just trucking along.
Really?
I feel like that's got to be going on for almost a decade at this point.
Come on, right? Really?
Well, I like how they put ongoing in the time. I mean, it's just to remind you, like, it's come by me ongoing.
What the hell? It's on number 78. I've never even heard of this thing.
Yeah. It's like that's Action Lab's like big thing. I mean, that and Princeless, which was really
I remember Princeless,
because that's what launched Jeremy Whitley's comics career. I want to say it's the first thing I read of his, and that was some years ago now.
Yeah. I want to point out the little stars you see on some of these are all books that were delayed.
Okay.
Which is an
We Live. Right.
What is We Live? Is it like They Live, only it's us?
No, it's hard to describe. It is, or maybe Joe will take a swing at it, but it's not what you expect.
Yeah, no, it's fun sci-fi stuff. It's kind of like it's kind of like Blade Runner, not exactly, more in just the sense of like, people are trying to get off world.
Gotcha.
And it's like, it's a story about, people trying to get off world and all of the horrible things that happen in an attempt to try to save themselves and get off world.
Wow. So is it bleak? I'm guessing it's kind of bleak.
It's bleak, but it's pretty, and there's fun moments. There's lots of slivers of really nice moments.
I mean, there's kids in the. I mean, it's an interesting book. I would. If you have,
I'll grab it. If it's on Comixology, I'll grab it up.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things from Aftershock right now. But like Aftershock has really been putting out good stuff like this past year or so. Not that they didn't beforehand, but in particular, I've noticed a lot of their titles that have just like, oh, this is an Aftershock book again. This is great.
Huh. Okay. Good. I don't really know their stuff that well, so I'll grab some stuff from them.
They're good. Okay.
Here, so for our second list here, I went ahead and Dynamite is apparently doing a butt theme for.
Come on! I have no comment. I'm not commenting. I have no comment.
Fair enough.
That is my comment. I have no fucking comment.
By the way, this wasn't me like carefully picking the titles out. This was
holy shit.
This is just what comes up. I would love to know, like, because it feels at this point like somebody in the company is like, we're gonna just do this and see if anybody notices. I don't know.
Yeah.
God.
It's
I don't know why it's Sacred 6. I just see 2 right there. I don't.
Wow. Yeah. I'm just gonna go quickly get a soda. I'll be right back when you're done with this.
It's Dynamite is funny. I gotta, and that's not the Phoenix logo, but anyway.
I know. But
why did you do that? Why did you make me look at that?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
This is the theme of the chat, I guess.
Oh my God.
But hey, Valiant has a book coming out.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's Savage.
Happening.
What is
Savage? That? Is Savage 2020 #1 coming out in 2021?
Okay.
Yes.
Is it a new character? Is it a new world? Do we know what it is?
It's
Is it Exo Man of War?
No, I be honest, I'm not sure what this book is. So
okay.
I do know it's 2020, 2021. So that's some.
I am not too cool for booty. I enjoy the booty. I just prefer it not to be stuffed in my face like that. I prefer to choose when I'm appreciating the booty rather than have booty forced upon me, I guess is what it is.
It's that Simpsons meme of Smithers with the
I'm telling you, go to the Diamond site and just look like comics coming out, and they have all the variant covers there. And it's like 90% of them are butt.
Oh God damn it!
You're
like, oh my God, what happened? But to the point, Dynamite knows what sells.
Ass for days. That's what it is.
I can't believe, like, oh God, like with Image, like it's actually solicited Stillwater by Zdarsky and Perez. Like that's
well,
that's okay.
Really? That's the solicit?
Yeah.
I thought Perez was retired.
Yeah.
Wow. That was frosty. Holy shit. Is Stillwater any good? Am I going to go buy this now?
It's fine. I mean, it's okay. I think Haha is the one that's going to sell.
Okay.
We've got an image for sure.
Okay.
That first issue, just everybody under ordered, and that was.
I like Excellence. I actually quite like Excellence.
Excellent book.
The problem is, I know Kari, and I know Brandon Thomas. So it's difficult for me to say I like it when I do like it. But everyone who finds out that I know these guys, then you'll think, oh, you're just promoting your friend's book. But I am not. I actually didn't even notice it there until I just saw it. I just like it. I think it's fun.
Yeah. There's some good books on there. There's some Mad Cave books on there, Joe. So Mad
Cave. Terminal Punks is written by my buddy Matthew Ehrman. So
what's that about?
They're at like an airport, which is the terminal part, but you get apes running around this airport. It's weird. It's it's like I don't want to say anymore because I feel like that's like intriguing enough to get people to be like, all right,
all right, I will check it out. I'm not difficult. Any interesting hook, except for asses.
Yes,
I will go and check it out.
We'll move on from the asses, and we'll go to. Here you go. Here's our Marvel DC. Hey, there's a book of yours on there, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Marvel. Oh, there's Truth and Justice 1. Nice. Yeah. Black Knight, Black Widow, Captain America, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Fist, Iron Man. Why am I reading it all out loud? We can all read it.
X-Men Legends #1's finally coming.
Who's doing that? Is that the Brett Booth thing?
That's Booth and Nacinta. Yeah.
I will check that out for sure.
Yeah,
nice.
I will definitely check that out.
We gotta get Annie on here and get her out.
Who's doing? I usually hate cable, but when he's done right, I will enjoy it. Who's doing it right now?
This is Jerry Duggan and
done. Sold. That's all you need. Sold. I'll check it out.
Who's the artist? It's not Noto.
It's not Noto on this one, right? Yeah.
And I love Marauders. I think that's a crazy book.
Yeah.
I'm also in Planet of the Symbiotes too.
Yes, that's that. We got
I have
with first. So yeah,
Truth and Justice #1 and Planet of the Symbiotes 2 are both out next week.
Now, Truth and Justice #1, I believe they're printing it because this will come out on digital. So this is now, and I like that DC's done. This is the right balance. You've got some books coming out in digital first, and then pretty routinely now, 2 months later, they're getting printed. And then vice versa. You've got the printed books who are then showing up in the overall service.
Yeah, I think if there's any good thing about the streamlining and the downsizing, it's that somebody's finally got their head out of their ass about how to do digital. So
it's much better. I mean, there's still many miles on that journey, I think, but it's definitely better. So
they're starting to get it. It's fun. The Planet of the Symbiotes thing is a 10-pager that's really about the American kaiju.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that existed. And I was like, what? And he literally bellows USA. I'm like, Godzilla is yelling USA, and he has Captain America colors. It's like, what is this madness?
It is. It's so this is week 7. I guess we got 2 more weeks of Future State, and then we're off to the real stuff. So this is I mean the real stuff that way. I just mean the ongoing series.
I've enjoyed a lot of the Future State books. Not all of them, but not all of them are the kind of thing I would enjoy regardless whether it was Future State or not. Like, I'm not really a big Superman fan, so I don't care one way or the other about those books.
Mm-hmm.
But I quite liked the Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing, great.
That guy is a beast. Holy crap! And I like Catwoman. Ironically enough,
Catwoman was a fun little story. I feel like the stories that I've enjoyed in Future State, I feel I mentioned it earlier this week. I feel frustrated by because it feels like 2 issues is too quick. It feels like things.
Yep.
And then the issues I'm not enjoying, I just that just feels like it's 2 issues too many in many cases.
Wow. Oh my god. I'm kind of liking the next Batman too. Like, I've seen that people are sort of knocking it for whatever, but I feel like it's almost like it's an old school Batman book. Like, instead of it's a new school Batman book. Like, the only new thing about it is the new guy being Batman. The rest of it is sort of old school film noir almost.
It feels. I think that the art shift from 1 to 2 was a
That is true.
That I think. Yeah, I love Nick Darrington, so that was a bummer.
Yeah, that guy's
he fit the mood. Like Ridley and Darrington, it
perfect.
It was a good match. And then the new artist, nothing against him, but it doesn't sync nearly as well. That
killed me with Patrol 2.
What do we think about Justice League?
I like Justice League, but I really thought the second issue was just they rushed 3 issues into that. So I like the first issue a lot, and the second issue was it felt like let's quickly cram all the pieces back.
Same thing. I think exactly the same thing. Some of the stories could have had another issue and it'd have been perfect. Yeah. Like you could have just stretched this out a little bit more, or not done the backup story. Like let that story be the whole book, like that.
You brought some good villains. It was a good twist. It was something that nodded to the past, which I liked in the first Justice League book. So I was a fan of it. And then it's like they dismissed them very quickly. It's like the lesson suddenly became we need to talk more and that will be better, instead of like there's this really cool threat you're fighting. That second issue they just packed it all back up. And that was my view on it anyway. I felt I would have easily paid in for that to be 6 parts. So.
Yeah, it's weird because it's an event, but it's not a crossover.
Yeah,
right? Which is an interesting thing to try to do. So I'm just not caught up with everything. I haven't read any of the Titans books. I love Nightwing, but I just love Nicola Scott's artwork anyway. So, I mean, she can just sort of do no wrong. But
that's fair.
I haven't really. What else? What are the other worlds? Right? They have the Justice League world, the Superman world, the Batman world.
To your point on Catwoman, I thought the first issue was a really good setup. I'm almost positive, given some of the twists at the end and some of the things that they're doing there, I feel like the second issue is going to have the same problem as Justice League, which is unfair. I'll read the book and judge it fairly.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'd like more story there. So.
Yeah.
Is Emuela Lupacino working on anything right now? I haven't seen. I feel like I saw her name fairly recently, and then I just haven't seen it.
Oh, did you guys see the news that there's not going to be a Yara Flor TV show?
I did not hear that.
I did not.
Yeah, that's literally today. Apparently, the lady who wrote it came up. My Twitter feed has got a lot of Hollywood crap in it. So,
okay.
The lady who wrote it, the pilot was rejected. They're not going to make the show.
Wow.
So, I don't know that means she disappears totally, but there's not going to be a show.
Oh wow! Big deal.
My Twitter feed's mostly filled with Hollywood wannabes, so I don't.
Well, that's the same thing, really. It doesn't even matter if you're making money; you're still a freaking wannabe. Anyone who forgets that tends to crash and burn pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, I got a couple of crash and burns I got to report probably pretty soon.
Yeah, they are. I think they're pretty mad, but I'm reading this like I'm talking to someone. Yes, the Yara gang is probably very, very pissed. But look, this is a rumor. You're hearing it through me, guys. I read it on my Twitter feed, and it seemed like it was the author of the pilot saying, "I'm sorry, I did my best," essentially, but the company is not.
No, it's legit. So 1 hour ago, CW announced they will not be moving forward on Wonder Girl.
There you go.
This is a horrible day for thigh lovers everywhere.
The thickness lost again. Oh my God!
Yeah, we had the solicitations earlier, and they were moving down. We were getting a little bit less leg, and this is all what it's led up to. You should have kept those things high.
Oh my God!
Learn from Dynamite. Come on, Dynamite knows what to do.
I feel like Yara could be cool. I love the idea of a little breath of fresh air. I thought it was an interesting idea to show her as Wonder Woman, but then reintroduce her as Wonder Girl, because that lets old guys keep Wonder Woman and lets new people go, oh, she's going to be Wonder Woman one day. That's great. So that's just me. And I mean, Joelle Jones, or however you pronounce her freaking name, she could draw her ass off. So if she wants to draw that character, she's got my money. Like,
oh yeah, no, she's great.
I'm not in the Yara gang. You need to shut up.
I actually, I got to explain Yara Flor to the first woman to write Wonder Woman, Mindy Newell, on the phone the other week.
Okay,
we she was cool with the idea. It was just a lot of like what Amazon. Oh, Amazon, because of the Amazon rainforest. Oh, okay.
Oh my God. And yes, we do need a Legion of Wonder Woman. As soon as you say that, that's now all I have in my head and all I want. Oh, here's another pitch for you guys. Here's what I thought. This is okay. I think people always think I'm only going after the Black characters, but a lot of the time, those are the characters that they say yes to, right?
Yeah.
One of the pitches I had worked up for DC that I didn't even get to pitch them was, remember how Diana got to be Wonder Woman? Was she won a contest? She beat out all of the other Amazons.
Yeah.
Right? So theoretically, had she lost that contest, it could have been anybody. Any random Amazon could have been Wonder Woman, right? So I thought, well, do they have this contest annually? Or, you know, every 10 years they're immortal? Is it every 100 years, whatever it is? Like, or if there's a big cataclysm coming, do we have to select a new Wonder Woman? And the old Wonder Woman has to compete for it too? And nobody told Diana, and she's just out in her life, and all of a sudden a slew of Amazons just freaking attack her? And you get 6 months of comics out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And the idea was it's a battle for the crown. Like, who's going to be Wonder Woman? Which Amazon will be triumphant? And you get to see Diana fighting off against, like, some badass Amazons that you've never seen before, introduce a bunch of new fun characters, and then if she lost, you still have the book be about Diana, but now she's got to deal with the fact that there's other chicks being Wonder Woman.
Yeah. She could like open up like a diner or something.
Or you know, I don't know, like the other woman needs help. Like she's really arrogant and she's like, okay, I really just trained to win the Olympics. I didn't realize I was going to have to run a marathon literally every 5 minutes after I won. Can you help me with this? You know, that would have been like a sort of Batman Beyond vibe in a way.
I have to go hang out on the Justice League satellite and
exactly. Well, the Justice League refuses to accept her because you may have the title, but you're not on our show. Yeah. Like we're still working with Diana. You can sit down over there.
I don't know. That idea sounds like too invigorating.
Yeah.
Dude, I just love this crap. I have so many stupid random ideas about these people.
That's good. We won't spend much time on it. So just for news, King in Black delayed. Big shock. Marvel has
is that a shock to you? It's not a shock to you guys.
Yeah.
No, okay. When was the last time an event actually went out as scheduled? I think that was probably Hoxpox, and that
was regimented, man. Those guys, they were dropping like they were like an army. Like those books just came when they were supposed to. Like I don't know. I don't really follow books that way. So like when events happen, it doesn't change my buying habits. I only follow the characters I care about. I don't go follow the events. Yeah. So if I wasn't already reading the Fantastic Four, I'm not going to suddenly go start reading it. Because I contributed to King in Black, they gave me a lot of the advance. They got me a lot of the advanced issues so I could know what to do and not do, what characters I could use, all that. But I have no idea how it's playing out now. Like basically, I got issues 1 and 2 and sort of background on Null, and I have no idea what's going on in the rest of the books. That's so bad.
No, that I mean that's kind of it. But I mean, your book as well. I think you're on that Planet of the Symbiotes. You're in that issue.
Yeah,
too.
that's true.
So you get a delay. So congratulations.
Oh, they're all delayed.
Oh yeah. This is the cascading event. With that final issue getting delayed, everything else is getting delayed.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because they can't finish it up if that's the last issue.
Right. Yeah.
That seems unfair. Our books don't tie into that. Like whether my guy lives or dies has nothing to do with the overall.
We know that the conclusion to the Null story is in your book. You can't fool us.
Damn it.
Yeah. No. Anyway, it's tough. As somebody said, the readers don't know what the hell's going on either. Yeah, in a lot of cases, that's true.
Yeah, wow. Deep House Gent went for it. God damn.
I may tell it sounds ridiculous, but at this point, I think Marvel DC having somebody come out, get the marketing intern out once a week to be like, hey, in case you couldn't figure it out, here's what happened this week, and just do like the 30-minute press conference.
I think that'd be great. I don't even think that would cost them very much with YouTube and being what it is.
No.
I would even I wouldn't necessarily, well, it might hurt your impartiality, so I wouldn't come to you about it, but there are certain people on YouTube that I might just tap them, for X amount of bucks a week. You're kind of doing this anyway, so would you do it officially for us?
Yeah, I'll take that money though. You can.
You can't because you have to be impartial.
Oh, I don't need to be impartial.
You have to be. It's too late. That's your brand. Impartiality is your brand. You're stuck with it. Sorry about it.
Stupid centrist.
Damn my politics. Why do I have to be reasonable all the time?
Stupid delayed books. Hey, here's a weird story that's come up. So trading cards. I don't know. So I mean, I think we're all from the same area. You remember when this was kind of a big deal?
Yeah, I mean, I still have some of them, but well, I guess it depends. Are you getting a card for the card, or are you getting a card for the cool art, the tiny little poster your favorite artist made?
Yeah.
Like, what do we got? We got. Oh, right. Again, I don't follow everything anymore like I used to. So I'm guessing, I'm just going to guess, somebody's decided that the original X-Men are a group again, and they're going to wear some version of their original X Factor uniforms. Is that what I'm looking at with Marvel Girl?
Well, I mean, this was back in the day.
Oh, these are the old ones.
Yeah. No, okay. The point is, so right now there's this renewed interest for whatever reason in trading cards. Right now there's a bunch of money that's going into it, and there's all this talk, and what's crazy about this is I remember like that was Art Adams doing a bunch of those cards. Like they were getting legit, they're bigger artists to do these because it was big business. There's the Joe loves the Vertigo Tarot deck. I mean,
yeah, no, the Vertigo Tarot deck that Rachel Pollack worked on with Neil Gaiman.
Yeah. So no, there's suddenly this you'll hear about it. I'm sure in the weeks to come that there's suddenly this a lot of collector interest and cards in general are going up, and there's suddenly this rush to make all kinds of trading cards, and so.
Okay, you guys are in the culture a bit more, I'm sure, just from being a retailer. That I never got into the whole Magic the Gathering thing, but it seems kind of dumb that neither Marvel or DC has their own version of that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
sure.
They just do the Hero Clicks, which is a different kind of game,
right?
You know, but Hero Clicks is still popular. I think I played it so many years ago now, but they still have it apparently.
Really? Because I like the little Hero Clicks figures, but I never played the game.
It was kind of fun. I think what was it? I think I played with like Magog, Kingdom Come Superman, Amazo. Amazo was so good.
Jesus, who would? That's got to be. That should be like the biggest trump. Like there should only be like 8 Amazo cards in the world.
No, it's weird. There was a headline story on CNN today talking about Wall Street getting involved in trading cards, and that there's.
You're kidding.
Oh no! It's suddenly the money is in trading cards for no apparent reason. So.
It's weird. I didn't this. We talk about having basically geek culture shops, and I think this is great because it expands that into different areas.
Oh yeah.
I only been a comic book guy for so many years, and I started getting into collecting various kinds of action figures and maquettes. And after about 2 weeks of that, I got a bunch of different ones, and I was like, "There's no way. I'm basically building a museum. Like, what am I doing here? I can't. I have all these periodicals, and now I'm going to add sculptures. What am I doing this for?"
Yeah,
but. I know people who that's all they collect. They don't even collect the comics that the characters are coming out of. They only collect the statues, or they only collect the poster art or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those things. I hope it does well. I mean, just because it's one more thing to kind of sell and traffic in, that's probably the wrong word to use. But anyway, shops need more things. So if this does,
agree.
Yes,
great. Yeah. I agree. I mean, some of the art's great. I remember I told, I don't know her. I only know her from Twitter, but I love Colleen Duran's stuff.
Oh yeah.
Girl, you need to do a tarot deck. Like, you would own the world if you just put out a tarot deck. It doesn't even have to be characters people know. Just do it.
Yeah. I got Colleen to draw for me, and I got it nicely framed. She did Dream Sitting on the Iron Throne for me.
What? I now hate you for life.
and she captioned it. This was her idea to caption it. Game and Thrones.
Get away from me. I like her. We sort of hit up an internet, like a Twitter friendship, and we were supposed to meet up at the one convention because she's not always in the best health. Yeah. One time she was going to come to SDCC, and I literally missed her by 17 minutes. Like, I had to go. She had stepped away from her table. That was my shot to actually meet her in person.
Yeah.
So sad. Poor Geoff.
No, it'll happen. You'll meet her. She's so great. I got the A Distant Soil volumes 1 and 2, like bought directly from her site. So,
Nice.
you know, she signed him, wrote a nice note. She's incredible, and she sells stuff on her site. If you want, like, I think she still has copies of A Distant Soil volumes 1 and 2, and maybe some of the other volumes. So people in the chat
beat up copies from in the first round. Like I have I have the what stuff she did for Warp Graphics, dude.
Nice. but yeah, you know, people in the chat, go check out her website and give her money because she's great.
She is a beast. She is so great. Like, anyway, I'm still trying to figure a way for us to collaborate on something. I don't even know what it would be yet. Like whether it's creator owned or some, you know, whenever they ask you who would you like to draw for this book or whatever, she's always on the list. So,
did she wrap up the thing she was doing with Matt Hawkins?
I don't know. I don't know.
So she's got a sensational Wonder Woman one shot in.
Yeah. And I feel sometimes, well, one, the whole thing she did with Neil, I say Neil like we're old friends or something. We've never met. I don't know the guy at all. But with her and Neil, when they did Snow Glass Apples, I think that took her out of circulation for at least 2 years. Because that stuff was just epic. You know?
Oh, yeah. That was amazing.
We kind of touched on this earlier, but Legends, you say you're looking forward to the first issue next week. We also
I just want to see it.
Yeah, the Simonsons, Wheezy and Walt.
Are they back together, or is it just a cover?
No, they're doing an issue. It's set in this time period, the X Factor time period too.
I feel like somebody was listening to our chats.
Yeah.
Because this is something we all discussed one of the last time, that these people are out there. Some of them are still amazing, and there's clearly an audience appetite for that style of comic book.
Oh yeah,
go make some money, y'all. Like.
It seems crazy. Like, why does it have to be one thing? Like, you've got tons of continuity in history. You've got a lot of creators out there. Why can't you just put out a couple books? You don't have to make many.
Yeah. And I think you'll be well rewarded. Like, it makes it seem like the kind of stories I write are going to be the same as this. They're not, but I appreciate these stories. I like them. They're fun. It's okay for things to just be fun. Like, God forbid anything should just be for fun. Christ.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And just adding to all this, the amount of people who are out there who are more than willing to take a call and take some work.
Sure.
You know, it's nuts. I mean, you got you've got people like Al Milgram, Carrie Bates, Bill Loebs, like I could keep rattling people off, and it's like,
dude, I got a project I'm trying to put together the money for so I can hire Neil freaking Vokes. To draw that, and of course the children don't know who that is, but he's awesome.
It's anyway. Yeah, I think it's easy money. I always think these people are crazy not to do it, and it's but we are getting an X-Men business comic ongoing, so we do have that.
Wait, X Corp? That's literally about the X-Men business.
Yes, it's X-Men are they're as dangerous in the boardroom as they are on the battlefield.
Oh, that just screams stunning visuals, doesn't it? When you hear that,
yeah. Well, that's why you have Angel on the team, so you can have the wings flapping, so the artist has something to do, so they don't pass
every
out
time he gets mad. Every time he gets mad, the giant wings come out. Now I'm serious, damn it!
Yes. Ruin my suit. Yeah.
So you got that, and then Monet. She's I like Monet. She's not necessarily visually interesting when she's just in a suit in a boardroom, but
okay. You know what? We're being bad comic book fans. We don't know what it's going to be. It could be awesome,
absolutely.
But
it could be.
I feel like when I think X-Men, the last thing I think about is, well, what would they be like in a boardroom situation?
Well, as I said in the press release, they're finally kind of getting back to that hook that they're in big pharma now. So we've been wanting to tie up that loose end.
I feel like, and I want to throw this out there before I dive too much more into this. I know Teenie Howard. I'm friendly with Teenie Howard. I've worked with her before. I am proud of the success she's had in comics. So this is nothing to do with Teenie at all. But but I do think part of the frustration that's building when we see all these books coming out is Moira was like the most interesting part, and they still haven't gotten back to her.
What? I know, that crazy ass wrinkle. Like, I was mad. This is how crazy I used to be about the X-Men, because I I like the X-Men now, but I used to be one of those crazy diehard I'll murder you over the X-Men people.
Yeah.
And when they made her a mutant, when I found out she was going to now be a mutant, I was like, oh, come on, leave Moira alone. She was great. But the mutation they gave her, I was like, okay,
yeah,
this is freaking awesome. And now nothing. Like,
yeah. I get back to her in the. I mean, you've got Sabretooth down in some kind of weird prison thing as well. That could be interesting. You could do something there. You got Moira hidden away. I don't know.
I don't like to say negative things about creators in general. Not because I know them or don't know them, but because I assume that everyone I'm reading is doing their best. That just because I don't like it doesn't mean they didn't come in and do everything they could to get me to like it. So I don't give myself the luxury. I'm not judging people who do. A lot of fans like to go at people, and a lot of the creators are like, go fuck yourself, come at me, bro. But for me, it's not one way or the other what company they're at or not at. It's just, it's so hard work, and it's not really much money comparatively. I'm not getting mad at anybody who did their best. I'm just not, I don't have that. I'm not in it for that. If you can prove to me that someone phoned it in, that they took full pay for something they did not do full pay's work on, then I'll be a monster. Yeah. But like, don't you assume everyone who's doing this is trying so hard to please? I do.
You at least hope so, right? I mean, it's tough. I mean, this is the crux of the big question, is that like when a book is not interesting to people, it doesn't mean the creator's bad. It just means you're not interested in it. If you're not interested in it, that doesn't make you the fan bad either. And unfortunately, it's like you made a bad book, the creator's bad. The fan wasn't interested in the book, the fan is bad. Everything is the person is bad. And maybe it's just not, just doesn't work. I don't know.
In the spirit of you being reasonable, I will also say this. Some creators do take a shot at the audience. They will write into their stories things that are clearly like, fuck you, audience. In those situations, feel free to get the torches and the spikes and go crazy. Sure. Go march on the castle, tell them to bring out Victor Frankenstein. Because, like, why did you do that? What's the point of that?
Well, yeah, I absolutely. I think that is self-destructive. And I think there needs to be a little bit more of it. It's not thicker skin, just more pragmatic aspect. I mean, look, whatever era you're in, if you're advertising a book of, this is an X-Men book set in the fascinating world of corporations with boardrooms and negotiations, you can't be surprised when fans are like, really?
Yeah, who's the bad guy?
Yeah.
Bill Gates? Like,
yeah, lawyers. Patent lawyers are the villains.
Damn it.
I mean, now your goal should be to win them over, show that, hey, and fans should be willing to go into it and say, wow, I was completely wrong. This corporate boardroom drama is awesome.
Right.
Sure.
Well, who knew? Like the various versions of She-Hulk, like the original She-Hulk versus Burns She-Hulk. No comparison. They're not even the same character. They're like, it's just a giant green chick, and I'm doing this with her.
Well, do you remember, by the way, that when Byrne did his She-Hulk comic, there were some very angry fans about that book.
Yeah.
Third wall, fourth wall, and all that.
Well, like, he pushed the envelope, certainly, and by modern standards, he'd probably be considered problematic on some of the certain issues. The jumping rope thing, I think, was,
well, I mean, of course,
just being silly. But there's a lot of conversation about it. Like, I saw that whole controversy about the way they're drawing the She-Hulk now, and somebody put some giant boobs on her because they made her look like a monster, and that she should look hot or whatever. I feel like if something in the story has mutated her away from the way we used to see her to the way she looks now, then you can't really argue with it because it's part of the story.
Well, you can argue if you like the story or not. Then.
Right. I don't like that story. I don't like what she did. But this weird notion of this is what a woman is meant to look like. Even in comic books, like, I don't want one body type. Some artists can only draw one woman, and they're just, does she have short hair? Is she black? Is she Asian? Doesn't matter. We're just coloring her differently, but she's really just the same chick over and over again.
I'll take back to those Dynamite covers. Hang on a second.
Wow, you need to stop it. I feel like there's legitimate criticism there because And it's this, they're drawing this, that artist is almost certainly drawing the same guy over and over again. Like sure. Scott Summers and Warren Worthington should not have the same body type.
Right.
They're not the same guy. So if I can't tell the difference between them from the chin down, you suck.
Yeah, I know. I unique and different. They've carried that off in the past. I get creators. I've seen too many writers or people get really offended when fans seem to reject an idea. And it's like, if the idea is, hey, I'm coming in to take over the X-Men, I'm going to try and do something that very much is like the last 30 years, but take it in new directions, whatever it happens to be, fine. But if it's, I'm launching a boardroom book, like you have to expect or not to go with that. Like the book comes out, but don't express surprise that people are like, I don't want to see.
Dude, Jerry Duggan and I redid Solo. We had this conversation. We knew in what was going to happen. Like, look, anytime you're taking I'll even put it on myself right now. Some fans are not going to like this Green Lantern book, no matter what I do. They're not. And I know it's a departure from what they're used to going in. It's not that I'm going in to destroy anything. I'm not erasing any of the history. I'm just not focusing on any of the old stuff, right? So by definition, there's going to be some unease about who is this fucking guy? What's he going to do next? What is he going to kill my favorite? Is he going to, upset the apple cart? Is everything not true anymore? All of those questions are legit.
Yep.
And it is entirely possible that I fail. Like anyone who goes into these creative notions and goes, well, I'm going to hip these proletarians to my genius artistic wisdom and fuck them for not understanding my magical powers of telling stories. Well, you're an asshole. It's a gamble. It's always a fucking gamble. The audience is the final component of an equation. And if they don't go for it, it's nobody's fault. No, like you tried your best and they didn't like it. Moving on.
And you do have to read the room a little bit. I mean, if you're launching your 13th X book and you're like, and I think that is what this, I think this is either the 13th or the 14th X book. And you're going, this is going to be a courtroom drama. Again, win them over. I do wish Teeny well. I want that book I want to pick up that book and be like, God damn, I didn't know I wanted this, but awesome. That's what I want.
That's what you hope. That's always the hope, right?
And that's what I got with John Byrne's She-Hulk, honestly. I was one of the people like, comedy version of She-Hulk, I don't think so.
Yeah, what's this about? Yeah.
And I read the first issue. I'm like, oh, this is quite entertaining. I like it. So that's a perfect outcome. So I hope that's what happens with Teeny's book. But at the same time, please, like Marvel, DC, whoever it is, you can't be shocked that the fans are have some trepidation, let's say.
Yeah. And just get to Moira already.
Yeah, no, like don't dangle the shiny object and then whip it away. I want to see the shiny object again.
It's been almost 2 years.
Come on, man. If you're gonna give somebody a book, it needs to be Moira. Oh my god.
It's that and She-Hulk. I mean, it's a funny thing. It feels this may. I'm sure this is not the case, but this is how it feels to a lot of customers. It feels like with She-Hulk, there's an intentional, like, we're going to make her ugly on purpose because there was this fun kind of, sexy version that Byrne drew. And now we're going to deliberately do the opposite. And the more fans complain, we're just going to do it more.
And we're going to double down, triple down. Okay. Say that you've said this a couple of times, and I waffle back and forth about this in terms of reading the room or not reading the room.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, you want more female comic book fans. Right. And one could make the case, I don't necessarily agree with this, but one could make the case there's a particular kind of body type in most comic books for women that appeals to adolescent and adult men, young adult men. And it's meant to do so because it's largely that's who's drawing them. So those guys are drawing basically the chicks they want to see. But if you're smart, what you want is a variation of body type, of size, of build. Like I know guys, we're joking around about it, and I know women too, who only like thick girls.
Sure.
Right. And I know people who only like wafy, like the European model types.
Yeah.
Right. So if that's part of the appeal of your book, the physical attractiveness of the women, isn't it just smart business to have a variation of body type? Like, don't make everyone look the same, and then you won't have these complaints. But taking Wonder Woman and suddenly going, okay, well now she weighs 400 pounds and she's 5'2".
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
Like, That's not a good plan, guys. Don't do that. I don't care what your politics are. That's just dumb.
Sure.
Like, I understand your issue. Are you trying to sell Wonder Woman books?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a sell She-Hulk to Dynamite. I think that's a conclusion people.
No, stop it. No. Poor Jen. But I'm saying, like, I don't necessarily mind that they sort of monstered her out, because the Hulk could be described as a body horror comic book overall. Sure. And so you can get a kind of an interesting story to tell about. Let's put it like this. I don't know what's going on because I don't really read the Hulk. It's not one of my favorite characters. But Jen gets the Hulk powers because she does the blood transfusion with Bruce. So the first little while she's the Hulk, she makes herself into the Amazonian version of herself. Right? I like being the She-Hulk. I'm 7 feet tall. Everybody wants to sleep with me. I'm indestructible. I don't even have to do my job. I'm not even sure I have to eat. I could just be this. I'm awesome. Yeah. I like it. And we got the fun of a character who just likes having superpowers. But if it's a body horror comic book, that's just stage one.
Right.
Right. And if it's connected to your self-image, that secretly inside she always wished she was that. And then over the course of her adult life, she starts thinking, I'm not really the best person, or I've made some really questionable choices as a lawyer.
Yeah.
Right. Then it becomes her picture of Dorian Gray. Then it's whenever I turn into the Hulk, I'm what I really think of myself.
See, I think that would be cool. Honestly, I think that's not what they're doing, but that would be very cool because it would fit a lot of what they're doing with Hulk right now. I think it is a spin on the character. It's not ignoring the past. Instead, they've gone to they're going a different way, and the character's like, now I'm even more confident. It's like, oh, wait.
Yeah, like no. And also, how much fun is it too? Like, remember, again, I don't know why people don't take chances, and on both sides, the audience doesn't want to allow the chance to be taken. When I thought it was a baller move to make Jane Foster Thor, only because I was like, how long is this going to fucking last? And it kept going, and it was great. But you can't get mad because back in the day, Eric Masterson was Thor for quite a long time.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
Right? And
but it's something to examine, and maybe that's a show for it. We should do it, the three of us together. We should actually go head into this topic because it is the lightning rod to a lot of fans right now. And it's, Eric Masterson was Thor. We've seen Beta Ray Bill. We've seen
right, and not short term.
So,
and what did they do the thing where he either had a wasting disease or somebody gave him the brittle bones curse, so he had to wear the armor all the time?
Yep, that was in Simpsons Run. Yeah.
How long did that last? A long time, right? Yeah. They changed the silhouette, they changed the costume. I mean, it was a whole thing, right? And we just all went with it.
It is. So we have to. I'd like to pick up and examine again another time. But why the anger with Jane Foster? It wasn't. I do not believe, and I know some people do, that it's just a bunch of dude fans were angry because it was a woman this time. I think it's more complex than that. But anyway, it would be an interesting topic to dive into.
And how you had the Jacques Invisible Kid for a while there,
right? Jacques.
He was great.
Anyway,
I just think everybody needs to step back from the line a little bit. Like, if creators can't flex and be allowed to fail without calling them a monster, then you're never going to get any new fun shit.
That's true. And so it has to be that balance. And there's something that has changed. I'd love to get to the bottom of it. Because I had this when I talked to Steve and did the interview with him. He mentioned it's like, what is, because he's not paying attention to these, like, what is this argument? I don't even understand what people are arguing about. I'm not on Twitter. I don't even really understand. And
me either. I am on Twitter.
Yeah, he's very perplexed. He's like, I put out this book and it's clearly, kind of Mad Max, kind of dystopian America thing, and people were comparing it to the Capitol riots. But my book, the first issue, came out before the Capitol riots.
Right. It's just they discovered it after the riots, so therefore it must be connected. It's
okay, so there's a hint there that there's a dynamic to go into. But anyway, it's.
Do you have any friends who are psychologists or sociologists? Because I think it's a much bigger issue than comics, to be honest with you.
It is. I think it is, and I think it's everyone. I think it gets categorized too much as the creators are wrong, the fans are wrong. It's people.
I think our society. Here we go. All right, everybody. It's about to be an NPR discussion.
Yeah. And then we get some classic comics in here.
Yeah, I think our society is undergoing a pretty radical paradigm shift on a lot of fronts at the same time. And normally you get a paradigm shift on only one front, You get an economic paradigm shift and there's a ripple effect, or you get a racial paradigm shift and there's a ripple effect. Right now, we're getting kind of 4 or 5 different things equally important, all shifting in a new direction, not a bad direction necessarily, just something brand new that we're not sure of. And it's all happening at once, plus COVID.
Yes.
Right.
Which is a lot of anxiety. And
there's a lot of free floating anxiety. And I'm a reasonably successful person. I don't feel like I'm in control of my life. So I can only imagine what it's like if you're living closer to, the line, so to speak, where paycheck to paycheck and all of that stuff. I live that life as long as anybody does. And if all this shit was happening now, back then, I don't know what my mindset would be like. Probably pretty bleak. Mm-hmm. But I don't have any place to put most of these feelings. And here comes social media. Here comes sort of this weird sense of not quite family that you can get from all of us agreeing about some point. It doesn't even almost matter what the point is. It's like, oh, thank God there's 100 people who don't think I'm crazy about this, and that builds up. And all of a sudden you have people in these weird little lynch mobs being created about essentially innocuous crap that, like, save it up for when somebody's, burning a cross on somebody's lawn or shooting someone. Like, get mad about that shit. Like, there's a whole lot of dumb stuff that people are putting a lot of energy into.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. It's a good point. So let's do this. Let's set a time with yourself and Joe. I know Sean Murphy, I think, would love to come on and talk about it as well.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah. I there's I don't know. The conversation is helpful, but it anyway. How about these covers? Well, here's She-Hulk from.
Oh my God! Wait, there's old school She-Hulk. That's pre-burn, right? That's Savage She-Hulk. He was the sensational She-Hulk.
Yes, exactly. And here's Angel, who's seemingly always getting tied up.
Well, as one does in a comic book.
Yes.
Actually, that Angel thing, that's one of my favorite covers.
Yeah, this is
ever.
It is great on that. Everything.
Paul Smith, right?
I think this is Paul Smith.
Yeah. Although I was never a fan of him getting the whole I understood for the story that he was going to turn into Death and be made an Apocalypse Horseman and all that. But anyway, I have a whole rant about the Angel and how people have been not using him right since he was introduced.
A good rant.
Yeah.
Look at Kitty in the Phoenix costume.
Yeah.
It's
some good stuff. You've got that dragon issue came out of nowhere.
That was nice. Isn't that when he gets a girlfriend, right? That Lockheed gets a girlfriend, but she's a giant full-size dragon.
We had Moon Knight on the moon. We had a lot of this. Seeing Angel tied up though, we're going to get 50 Shades of Grey in X Corp.
Yeah.
There's an audience for that.
Yeah.
And just for people who aren't familiar with the older X books, that dragon is not Jubilee's son.
No. That is a girl dragon from some other dimension. That I think weren't they in Asgard? Wasn't that when they were in Asgard? That's an Asgardian dragon.
I think so. I don't remember. Was this around the time when you had that New Mutants and X-Men annual and they crossed?
Yeah.
I think this was around that period. I'm not sure if that's what was going on.
Yeah, Chris did a whole thing. Like, he got upset. Maybe he really wanted to be writing Thor, and this was as close as he could get. Because this is a thing I never understood. He would always put more stuff on top of the thing that the mutant could already do. Mm-hmm. Like, why does Danielle Moonstar need to also be a Valkyrie? I never understood that.
Form is also Thor, and
Like, I don't need this extra crap. Go write Thor if that's what you want to do. Whatever.
I'd love to see a book just published. Like, Claremont should pull all of his old notes and put them all in one location. Here's all the subplots and where I was going with it.
I think that would be like reading the Unabomber's Manifesto.
Exactly like that.
Holy crap! It was Claremont. That's a podcast, though. If someone could get access to them, the Claremont tapes.
Oh yeah!
Holy crap!
Slowly go through everything.
Oh God, I met Claremont on a bunch of occasions, just doing like signings and stuff like that. I had the Proteus premiere hardcover.
Holy crap!
And I gave it to him to sign, and he's looking through it, and it took me a few seconds, and then I realized, he never got a copy of this.
No,
because he's like looking at it like he had never seen it before.
Oh my God.
And he's just skimming through it, and he's just talking about, he's like, I really liked working with Barry Windsor Smith. I wish I worked with Barry more. And
wow.
It's just little bits like that. There was another time I had him sign something. I was talking about. It was shortly after New York Comic Con. He was at Midtown Comics, and we were talking. And I was talking about how I was, I saw Walt and Weezy at the show. I was talking to them about something, and then he looks at me and he goes, "Walt and Weezy were there," and I was like, "Oh no, this is."
Oh, they didn't call me? We were supposed to have lunch that day.
I was like,
so sad.
Oh no.
I never liked to be that guy.
Yeah, I was like, shit.
That's sad. They avoided me, and now I retroactively feel bad for something I didn't feel bad about for a decade, but now I feel bad.
I'm usually the one who screws up things like that.
Oh, me too. I'm the king of delivering the wrong information in that way. Oh man, that sucks.
How about Legionnaires here?
Legionnaires 3. They were separated for some reason.
Yeah,
him, Saturn Girl, and Kaz, right? They were on their own.
This was a time crapper. He was right. This was the miniseries. I always loved and hated covers like this because if you were running a shop, these covers always got jacked up. The way they stacked them, they would never work. But
yeah, and this loops back around to my conversation before with Mindy Newell. She wrote or co-wrote that with Keith, I want to say. Yeah.
Wait, what's his name? Eddie or Ernie Colon drew those? Right?
Let me.
He would normally been from like the Richie Rich world, and he came over to regular comics.
Yeah. No, it was Ernie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Good Lord, this is taking me back, man. I haven't seen some of these covers in decades. Oh Lord, look at that! The freaking Judas contract.
That was so good.
That was, but also incredibly problematic for a modern audience.
Oh, because
it was heavily implied that Deathstroke and Terror were hitting the sack, and she was 14, 15 years old.
Oh yeah, and
that was disgusting.
I mean, by heavily implied, it was. I mean, I don't know. It was a little further than heavily implied.
Well, visually, it was basically stated. It just wasn't explicitly stated in the dialogue.
Yeah.
Like the way Perez drew it, there was no doubt. But they were not dumb enough to have anyone actually say, well, since we're fucking,
But like a while before that, even you had that one-off issue where they stopped that one girl from getting into a prostitution ring,
right?
And they leave her at the bus stop, and then she gets picked up, and they don't know it, and that's such a good issue too. That really.
And things that would be necessarily described as problematic because these art writers, for whatever reason, a lot of the time they were tackling stuff. They were trying to incorporate it into a superhero world and not in a crappy, pasted on way. And I think sometimes they went too far into the sort of the prurient, sexy,
mm-hmm.
but they were trying to deal with what superheroes are supposed to deal with. And and also with the, what will the Hive do next? Where's the secret Hive base?
Yes.
Oh, man. Yes. It was disgusting. You're right, Deep House. He was definitely hitting that for sure. Like,
no, it was weird.
Yeah. It is weird. It was weird.
This is good that you got. Yeah, I said Gene Colan, Perez. You've got some amazing covers here.
Yeah, I never read Arak. I never went in for the Barbarian stuff back then.
No, I wasn't a big.
I love the Outsiders, the original Outsiders.
Yeah,
that whole Teen Titans, that storyline probably had a big influence on a lot of people.
The Judas contract was the jam at the time. Like, wasn't it back then? It was basically, that's Tales. So these are reprints.
Yeah,
but the Titans and the X-Men were basically duking it out every month.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I mean that's also why you had Batman and the Outsiders, because you needed Batman on a team to get the sales up, because Titans and Legion were the two basically highest selling books at the time that DC
Jamie
had.
Go to your room. I agree. You need to go to your room, Jamie. That's the worst joke of the night.
Rock Deathstroke's world. I don't know. I mean, I picture a lot of young creators, a young Warren Ellis getting inspired. I'm sorry, that's not right. Anyway.
Wow.
Here's some Marvel books. Hey, it's there's Rhodey.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was a good swap over from Tony Stark. I like the way.
And again, not a lot of fan outrage when Rhodey was Iron Man for a long time. Yeah. I think the story built naturally to it, and I don't think there was ever a sense, at least in my comic book shops, no one ever thought. I don't know if it was even a question. I never heard anyone say, "Is he going to be Iron Man permanently or not?" It was just like, this is where the story's taking us, and I like Rhodey, and Tony's still in the book, and stuff's happening. I guess let's see where this ride takes us. You know?
Yeah. And
the focus was on telling the story. I do think that's a clue of it. I think the more you hype the brave thing you've done, the worse it's going to be received. And if you just like, here's the story and it's cool, then people go along for that ride. I think there's something in the hype.
I think there's for us, I think there were so few comic book writers back then, and even name-wise, few artists. So there was a sense of, I don't want to say trust, but it's kind of like that. Mm-hmm. Like there wasn't the adversarial nature that seems to exist a lot of the time. So I would pick up a random book just because, not even like, what the hell is Marvel Fanfare, for instance? It doesn't even, the title tells you nothing. It's not Marvel Team Up, right? It's not Marvel 2-in-1. It's Marvel Fanfare. What the hell is that? But I will pick it up just because, right? I see Ms. Marvel. It's not even Miss Marvel. It's Ms. Marvel. I don't know why she's fighting the Vision.
I don't know what's going on with her pose there. Like, she's twisted in a very strange. I mean, the more I look at that, I cannot figure out how like, it's hot girl summer for her, is what I'm thinking. It is hot girl summer. I just like, something's wrong with her waist. I can't see it now. It's like I never liked that costume, I have to say.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I don't know why you go for full body protection on the arms and the gloves and everything else, but you go ahead and leave the midriff.
She's so upper body protected. She's wearing a freaking scarf as part of her costume.
Yeah.
But the bottom half is a bikini and go-go boots. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah. That's a strange, there's some strange things going on there.
She really likes her neck. She's like, I like my neck.
Eric does mention, in terms of problematic.
Wow. Go, Eric. That's a deep cut.
She does. It's still out there. Maybe
that is so sad.
Maybe
it's true.
They need to pick up on this in the new Mr. Miracle book.
No. No. Stop it. That's the beginning of Byrne losing his goddamn mind. That issue is where he turned the corner from my point of view.
No, like, you have like one panel, like the new Mr. Miracle's like breaking in somewhere, and he gets the copy and he throws it in the trash, and he's like, I took care of it. And then
God help me.
Yeah.
No. Pre-internet. Dude, if if that tape existed anywhere, it would be all over the internet. Now. Yeah. You're never getting that back.
I do feel like that storyline's going to come out at some point.
Please, God, no.
I do.
God, no.
Do not do it.
Please do not do this universe. Once was enough.
Here's some stuff. Here's
more asses.
Yeah, pre-Dynamite, Top Cow.
They had asses before Dynamite?
You know.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. There's
back when I loved Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, this week, way back when, this was Youngblood #1 from Malibu.
Wow. Go, everyone go after this. Check out that, was it Dennis Miller interview on YouTube that, Liefeld did back when this first issue came out, and they gave everyone in the audience a free copy of Youngblood #1.
Yeah.
And Dennis Miller one-ups Rob Liefeld because he asks Liefeld in this interview who is the Thing's nemesis, and he says the Hulk like a noob, and he goes, "It's the Yancey Street Gang."
Correct.
And just embarrasses Liefeld in front of millions of people. It's wonderful.
You gotta love that.
It's great.
It is. That was Miller flexing pretty good.
Oh yeah,
he used to be funny.
Yeah, there was a time. Yeah.
Oh my God, Midnight Nation, Jesus Christ!
Is that not, to me? I think this is the book. So many people have no idea what that book is, and this was one of the best.
Oh my God, good God, Midnight Nation was awesome.
Yeah,
is that Gary Frank when he was still brand new or relatively new?
Relatively. Well, what's weird is I think Gary Frank's doing that Gen 13 cover as well.
Whoa.
But yeah, that's Gary Frank. And if you haven't heard of Midnight Nation, that's absolutely a book to go pick up.
Rush right out, and it will hold up. It absolutely works. It is a fascinating book. Like, it was, I think if there was no Neil Gaiman, I think you'd probably be talking about Midnight Nation like people talk about The Sandman.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a great book, and a little bit hard to find now, but yeah, absolutely.
I saw that somebody in the thing said, "Who no one knows what to do with Gen 13." I would love a crack at a reboot, a modern take on Gen 13. I think DC can absolutely handle them in its current configuration.
It would fit. Grunge is appearing in this the Asian Celebration comic, which feels weird calling it that.
Yeah.
But Grunge appears there. It's weird because he looks like I'm pretty positive that's him on the cover.
Right.
Him in the solicit, and he's kind of just buried back there. I mean, I think people are missing out that Gen 13 would actually sell pretty well. Like if you announced a new Gen 13 book and you put a reasonable team on it, it would do quite. There's a lot of people who love that book.
Yeah.
Just 1 second. I'm going to answer a question from Jamie.
Oh yeah.
I agree that some folks may be passing through on their way somewhere. You should always do the project you're doing right now.
Real time.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, I personally know people, I'm sure we all do, chatting here who, I've met at conventions or, just through networking and meeting through other people that it turns out they're like, oh, I was writing this screenplay and like, I couldn't really get it off the ground, so I'm going to make it a comic, and with the goal of I just want this to lead to a TV show or a movie.
That if I liked you, I hope I liked you a lot before you told me that, because as soon as you tell me that, you're losing 15 points.
Yeah.
So if you're already at 30, I don't like you anymore.
Yeah.
Like, don't come through this. Like I was talking to my friend about this, who's a different kind of writer. My career has a lot been like people who are doing the thing that they think of as the A thing. Why are you doing this B thing? Like when I went over to do animation, a lot of the guys in live action are like, what the hell are you doing slumming over there? And I was like, I never thought of it that way. Why would you say that? It's fun, and the guys are great, and the stories are fun. And, kids deserve good writing as much as anybody else does. Why are you being like that? And the same thing with comic books. I think a lot of people are down their nose about it, unless it's a Gaiman or unless it's Mouse, or unless it's something approved by the pop culture gatekeeper types in the magazines. Like It's okay to like Watchmen, right? Anytime I see the phrase in somebody's review, it surpasses the medium. I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean it surpasses the medium?
I hate that.
This is a beautiful, unique art form, and you should take it fucking seriously. And if you're not, get out. Like, seriously, get out of my club. I don't want you here.
That's a bleeding cool article right there.
No slumming. I don't want any slumming. I'm not here for that. When I'm writing comics, I'm not thinking about, and I'm saying even with my own comics, I am not writing my own comics, my independent comics. I'm actually in Hollywood, and I'm not writing my comics with this weird notion that someone's going to see it and make a fucking movie out of it.
Yes,
like,
I totally.
Damn.
No, I mean, people need to think about it differently. Look, these comics, a lot of them have far outlasted television series and movies. I mean, the X-Men has, yes, I know they've made more money in the theater and all the rest.
Sure.
You've got decades and decades and decades of this property continuing.
Right.
Shows don't have that same. Stop thinking of it as lesser somehow. It
isn't lesser. It's different. And frankly, the same thing with animation. It's way harder to write for kids than it is to write for grown-ups. Kids are vicious, and we have way more restrictions. So if a kid doesn't like something, you're going to know about it. A grown-up will go, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll check it out again next week. It could get better. Kids don't do that. They're like, I didn't like it. I'm not eating any more of this unless my parents make me.
Yeah.
Right? And with writing comics, I've had many a person who thought they could people who like them and want to do them coming from the film side, and they'll call me up in a panic at 2:00 in the morning. Dude, how do you write these fucking scripts? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's comic book script. Like, it's not a movie script. There's no motion in a panel. It's a 1/10 of a second, basically. Each panel is a 1/10 of a second. Figure it out.
I think, I can't agree more here. And I know, Joe, I know you feel the same way. We got to take this stuff seriously. It's important. I hate this kind of knockoff, somehow lesser attitude. And I think that's the root of so many problems, is that it's just seen as secondary. And
it isn't. And you're not surpassing the medium when someone like, okay, so every novelist who isn't, I don't know, let's say Charles Dickens, because everybody knows who that is. Everyone who's not Charles Dickens, they just suck. They're in some secondary crappy novel thing, but he surpassed the medium because why? Why is I'm looking at these great covers, by the way, which I think I own almost all of these comics.
Yeah, this is a pretty damn good one.
But like
incredible art at this period.
But Byrne's run on the Fantastic Four is Watchmen better than that, or just wildly different, trying to do different things?
Yeah.
Right. Jack Kirby is a perfect example of that. I consider him comic books Picasso. Like a lot of people look at what we think of with Jack Kirby, most people is the end product Jack Kirby, right? The New Gods Jack Kirby. But Jack had been drawing for a long time. And his artwork, when you see it at the beginning, is old school, fairly realistic, sort of EC comic style stuff. So the Commandy, New Gods, Eternals, all of that version of Jack, that's an artist refining and refining and refining and refining and refining to something down to its essence. Everything was on purpose. It wasn't like he accidentally started drawing like that and didn't have an option to draw another way. He could have drawn a completely other way had he wished to, right? Yeah. And people don't take any of that into account. And I'm like, well, why not? It's hard-ass work doing this stuff.
No, I completely agree. And these stories are often remembered far longer than a lot of movies and TV shows are. So stop thinking about it. I mean, this Power Man Iron Fist comic was awesome, by the way.
Holy crap.
Luke Cage is about to just beat the shit out of people.
Luke did not play at all. I love that stuff. Man.
That was great. This Mike Zeck Punisher, beautiful. I mean, really, I think everything. I was never as much into Conan or the Barbarian type books, but
although I owned this particular one, I actually owned that.
This is a good ball. I mean, this is when you could do a Baldur the Brave limited series and it would sell 100,000 copies.
And it was good.
And it was good. Yeah.
That Avengers was great. Like all of these, I might even own that G.I. Joe, and I freaking hate G.I. Joe.
Well, but G.I. Joe had, I think the covers were amazing. I mean, that art was awesome for issue 47 of G.I. Joe. It's good stuff. I like, by the way, that Avengers cover, how Colossus is just kind of wandering in. Everybody else looks Colossus has a look of somebody like, I will pretend to fight.
Yeah, I guess if Storm's here, I'll help out. Like, man. No, God, what was Kang? Kang is such a great villain. I hope they don't screw him up in the movies.
Yeah, I do too. I hope they don't kill him. I mean, just he needs to be a multi-movie villain.
Yeah, he. If you're not having Thanos, I don't know who the Avengers could fight. Like, it's kind of got to be Kang next.
You gotta. I mean, you're down. I mean, I guess you reboot Loki a little bit. You get Doctor Doom in there, but please don't ruin Kang.
Oh, Kang, my friend Kang. What else we got? Oh, you scrolled.
Oh, I did scroll. Here, let's go.
Okay, let me see what you got. Got that JLA, got that Batman. Mm-hmm. I'm not a Lobo guy, so I appreciate it, but it's not my thing. Yeah. Steel, Superman, I was buying all that back then. Flash for sure. I was even another Gary Frank Supergirl. I think I was going anywhere Gary Frank went back then.
Yeah. Gary Frank this was Peter David Gary Frank on Supergirl has the best. Yeah.
Nice.
Multi-part Bizarro storyline. You got Superman being a dick up there in the corner with Lois.
Remember that website? Wasn't that the greatest website ever?
Super Dickory. It's
Dickory.
A good part of that is why this channel exists, I think.
Are you kidding? Dude, I wasted hours on that freaking site.
Oh, yes. I love all that. So Superman was the fun. And here, I mean, Superman is basically, you're about to take out Lois's eyes. I mean, this was the best Superman. And this is why I liked Superman 3. It's because of this stuff. It's
Silver Age Superman was a bastard.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so
nice. And then you have that Flash when back when Grant Morrison and Mark Miller were like still talking to each other.
Oh my God!
Yes,
that's so sad.
Yeah.
Man, all these fights.
But hey, Frank Quitely can work with both of them still. So
he must be a good guy, right? I can sit back and. Was that Kelly Jones?
Yep. on
That's
Batman.
a Kelly Jones Batman, yeah. And we saw some Kelly Jones aliens earlier, yeah.
Is he still working? Or I'm presuming he.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I have a sneaking suspicion that, like a lot of the other names we were mentioning earlier, like he'll pick up the phone, you know?
What? Oh
Yeah.
my God! Why am I not rich? I would literally start a comic book company if all these people are wanting to work and not getting work. Oh my God!
I can't tell you how many I mean, we did retrospectives with Richard Case and Nancy Collins in the last couple of weeks, and both of them were like, I mean, you know, if DC wanted us to do something, we do it, you know?
I listened to some of the Nancy interview, and it bummed me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, I mean, I get it on a rephrase. When I say I get something, it doesn't mean I agree. It means I understand what the thinking is behind it. And I guess they don't want to pay the rate, essentially, is what it boils down to. Because what you're going to get back from selling the comics, they feel is not commensurate. But these are the ones of them who are still able to hold it down art-wise, because they're not all still as good as they used to be. Some of them aren't as good. They just fell off for whatever reason.
Sure.
But give them a graphic novel then. Pay them the equivalent of 6 months of work for them to do a single, solid state graphic novel and go to a different audience. I don't know, one that's old enough to remember them and appreciate their fucking artwork, right? And then you hit both things, right? You can do more grown-up work. You sort of get a version. I don't know why they mothballed Vertigo. Vertigo was like a breeding ground for some great talent.
And we're heading up on the 30-year anniversary of Vertigo. Next year.
Yeah. But I'm looking up Kelly Jones now. In 2018, 2019, he did a 6-issue like Batman sort of miniseries, and then before that, the last time he had comics work was in like 2010.
Jesus, jumping Christ, that's
and that's just it. Like, he got to do a short in like Detective 1000 or whatever, but it's just like.
This just makes me like if I won the lottery and had an extra $100K lying around, I would literally start up a company just to hire some of these people.
Yeah,
like it's ridiculous.
I can't agree more.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It is. It's. Oh my God! Now you're getting into my deep childhood. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Look at that master of kung fu, the guy with the freaking, what do you call him, on his head? What kind of costume is that? Oh my God.
Oh God. And we got that's some Conway Spider-Man, like right around that Clone Saga, right?
Oh my God, look at this. Right. The Gwen clone, the first actual Gwen clone.
Yeah.
The first Clone Saga, not the other Clone Saga.
That they had to do because Stan threw Jerry Conway, still basically a child, under the bus at the time.
Oh my God. That's so crazy. And Camo Thorne, my God. That was when Thor and Hercules were doing the buddy cop. They were like paired up in every issue. Oh my God!
A lot of fun stuff here. I will point out again, this is the comics that came out this week in previous years, and it's nice to see that even back in this would have been the 70s, I think Marvel was throwing out Halloween-based comics in February. Which
no kidding.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, makes sense.
Look at that Captain America and the Falcon. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you must not reveal this issue's shattering shocking.
You know what I never really did get into was like Chamber of Chills, Giant Sized Chillers, Crypt of Shadows, that kind of stuff. I would buy them occasionally, but they never really grabbed me.
Yeah, they weren't big. There's some story behind that. I won't remember it properly, but there was some, not sponsorship, but Marvel. Marvel was doing that for reasons, because this was when it was going out in newsstands, and there was some other thing in play. It was that they were being pushed. Like there was I don't know. There's something involved here. I'll have to.
Right. I get it. Like, were they reprinting like old EC things or something and calling it?
It wasn't that. They were getting. There was some other party involved in all this. I just remember that much. And
okay.
I have to go back and look and see what the story was there. But there was some, because it was odd for them at the time.
Scott McDaniel, Jesus Christ, that guy can draw.
Yeah. It's nice stuff. I do love seeing these. I
have all of these comics. This is so stupid. I literally have all of these comics.
I
love so sad. Oh my God.
I love that Killer Croc is like he's I like the whole pose, the everything.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that was back when we were still getting flashbacks.
Yes. We're getting them again, but they're kind of lame now. So.
Oh,
yeah, we are.
Book?
Yeah.
This is just its own book of just flashbacks.
No, well, they've been inserting them in, but it's they're trying to sell another book with it, and it just doesn't have, like, when you're trying to market using flashbacks, it doesn't work. It's not the same.
Hey, it's not my fault. It's what he's showing. We could be talking about anything.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
You Iron. I see what you said. He's showing us what he's showing us.
What
is going on?
Issue of Batman is that with Killer Krog?
Oh, Christ.
That's
359.
359. Okay, yeah. So, because we got a couple of, was it Doug Mank Batmans
Dude, your
there?
chat is mocking the shit out of us right now.
Yes.
They're just like, why am I watching 1979, the recap of 1979?
We are old. Yeah, 99 of you are watching this right now. So, haha, joke's on you. You could be. I do like. I like how Kandor is like the biggest pain in the ass in the world.
I know. Oh my God, who would want to be responsible for that?
Like, why are you always keeping it like a glass bottle sitting on the edge of a table? Like,
Yeah.
And I love how, like, even back in like the Silver Age, you just would have random people resize themselves out of the bottle of Kandor, and for whatever reason, they never figured out how to replicate that and just end it.
Right. It only works for me. I can only do it once, and it only works for me.
Because that was like, I'm blanking on her name, but that was like one of Supergirl's like first supervillains. Was one of the scientists from Kandor was able to escape. And
all right, here's the thing. So you're Superman in this ridiculous period of time. You're a member of that version of the You're a member of that version of the Justice League, right? Remember that version of the Justice League. Think back in your way back. Someone brings you the bottled city of Kandor filled with tiny little Kryptonians.
mm-hmm.
He never made a call to his pal Ray Palmer.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, can you figure out how to reverse this for these guys? We'll set them up on Mars, and everything will be cool.
Didn't he get Ray Palmer and send him in there once? But they didn't come up with a plan of like, hey, maybe we should enlarge this thing, or I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
it seems like there was a solution to this problem, and
it's the Bronze Age. What age is this? It's not the Silver Age. What age?
This is all Bronze Age stuff. I want to say, yeah. But I love the Silver Age though, because you always had like Batman and Robin traveling through time, never to save any of their parents.
Right. Like, I have a time machine. The trauma of my life is the death of my parents. Like, the first thing I'm doing.
Yeah. So many. I mean,
Barry, what does that treadmill do? Oh, it's a time machine. But where'd Bruce go? Like, instantly that fast.
Well, Superman can go through time. You'd think he'd want to head over to Krypton at some point and maybe help that thing out. But I mean, oh well. Yeah. Do I believe? Do I believe One Piece will be #1 in manga sales this year? Probably not. But with the anniversary, there's a possibility. They also have some new deal. I know that they're pushing to get their comics into South America and some other regions. It's a beast. One Piece is ludicrous amounts of money and attention right now. I don't know.
Friends have been trying to make me watch that damn show, and every time I try to watch it, I'm like, I don't get it. Why is this the one?
The problem with One Piece, so One Piece, I love it, absolutely wonderful. My kids love it. But the challenge is to really appreciate it. You got to watch at least 150 episodes.
Yeah, that's what happened with fucking Inuyasha. I was like on episode 93,000 or whatever the fuck it was, and I was like, wait, this is never going to end. We're stuck here forever. We're never getting out of this show.
One Piece is absolutely amazing, but it is you need to know going in you are signing up for a lifelong commitment.
Is that true? It's he really did do that?
Oh no, does he?
Did he do that?
This was an evil Bruce though.
Oh, okay. It's one of the alt worlds.
Yeah, I don't think this was the real Bruce. This was like evil Bruce, and doesn't he screw it up and it makes him more evil or something?
Of course, if you change anything, you become more evil. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, Dr. Ray Palmer helps all the Justice League with their enlargement problems. Well done.
Wow.
I see what you're there. Yeah.
Wow. Well played. That was very T-rated. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, One Piece you have to read until at least are long. I mean, I'd argue you got to get through Alabasta, and I think then you're 300 episodes in.
No, that's never happening. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I do think Demon Slayer is getting some other reprint. There's a couple things going on. It will be a race between One Piece and Demon Slayer, although My Hero Academia is killing it as well. So, I mean,
I tried that too, and I just didn't bite down. I don't know why.
My Hero Academia would probably be easier for you, I think.
I like some of these things. I just don't always like. What was the last one I really liked? Well, obviously I like Attack on Titan, but that's some madness.
I think My Hero is you can within 10 episodes you're into it, and or at least you're getting to real content. Whereas One Piece, when do they? Somebody in the chat help me out. When do they do the time skip? I think it's like episode 680, and then at some point they're like, and now the story really begins, and it's like,
what does Geoff Thorne think of the Gerard Jones Green Lantern one?
Oh yeah,
Gerard Jones is a pedophile. He's in prison right now. At the time, nobody knew that, and he wrote one of the best Green Lantern runs, period. Yep. It sucks for all of us now because we can't ever look at that run and not think, wow, the guy who wrote this is a pedophile.
That's true.
And that's shitty, so fuck him for that. For after all of the other bullshit stuff he's in prison for, and fuck him for that. Mm-hmm. Fuck him for that. For us as comic book people, how could you have access to comic books and still be that guy?
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. So that's what I think about that.
Very nicely and directly stated.
Sadly, because the mosaic exists, to ignore it is to not do your job properly.
That's true.
So you may see some oblique references to the mosaic in the Green Lantern book. I will absolutely not be revisiting it in any deep way. But all Green Lantern history is available. All Green Lantern history can be used. So
I appreciate just spotting that directly. I agree. I hate it when people mince around it because that's pretty cut and dry. I think there's no way to excuse that off.
No, DC did not explain to me why the Blended Core was shunted into another dimension. What do I think of the Morrison run? I love Grant Morrison's work as a rule. Even the stuff I don't love, I'm like, wow, what a brain is going on in there. Like he just comes in and makes the things his own. That particular run is very esoteric.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's meant to be in regular continuity. So it's taken on its own merits. I think it's fucking genius, as usual. Is doing a lot of great stuff. His whole thing about Hal's almost like the avatar of perfect free will in that book. And that's a very interesting take. And if there was a version of Hal that was going to be front and center in my version of the Green Lantern book, I would probably jump off from there. That is a way to make him interesting. But it also makes him more of a maverick if you're putting him with the rest of the Green Lanterns. So what does that do to Guy, who kind of already occupies that space?
I completely agree. Yeah.
Right. So it's beautiful work, but it's also like, I don't know how well it meshes with the rest of the Green Lanterns.
It's, I also think that book's going to read better when it's collected.
It's going to make a hell of a novel.
Yeah.
One hell of a novel.
Not every book's that way. I'm not a believer in that you got to wait for the trade, but some books do. And I think a lot of Morrison stuff just does a lot better that way. But
you know, who can't love Liam Sharp artwork? You have to be some kind of monster not to love that artwork.
Yeah, but I don't think like Seven Soldiers of Victory makes any sense to like the second to last issue.
Yes, and that's unfair, Grant. Yeah. That's not fair to us out here in the world who are not geniuses. Like, can I get any breadcrumbs at all? Literally any one. I'll take one breadcrumb at this point. But you know what? We all stuck to those last two issues. So in a weird way, he's still doing his job.
He still pulls people in. He's got the credibility of pulling people in even when they don't know what he's doing. So
and then what was it? Deathlock. Speaking of other horrible things I've done to creators.
I know all of this backstage lore.
Yeah, I'm the guy who told Rich Buckler that Marvel created Death Locket.
What?
There's a horrible character, Death Locket, who is just a female version of Death Locket.
No, there is not a Death Locket.
There is a Death Locket, and
oh my God, no, they didn't.
I was at a signing he was doing, and he was just like, no. And like, I found a trade at this shop and showed him, and he just looked at it, and he was so visibly appalled.
Oh my, and well, he should have been. What the hell?
Yeah. That was Hopeless, wasn't it? That introduced that.
I mean, it's hopeless. You gotta feel hopeless when you look at that.
That was Avengers Arena. It was the book where they were ripping off Battle Royale and kind of a little bit the Hunger Games.
Right. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: was it a dream sequence? Please tell me it was a dream sequence.
It was a real character, and they brought her there.
Kept
showing up for a while.
No, I'm
sorry. So Dennis Hopeless, if you're listening, you broke an old man's heart.
Oh my God, you broke a young man's heart retroactively. Why would you do that?
It was that character is kind of the centerpiece behind the Avengers, the follow-up to Avengers Arena. The Avengers was Undercover or whatever it was, where they put even more of a spotlight on that character. So
back when they were pumping out Avengers books like X books.
Right. Oh, they don't even remember that, do they? Yeah. The Avengers was like the thing for Marvel for like quite some time.
Yeah.
This is here you have the Fantastic Four roast back when Marvel could make fun of themselves.
Yeah, that's not happening. But there is no Fred Hembeck now. Like, who would that even be in a modern context? There's no humorist that does this, really.
I can do a sarcastic comment right now, but yes, you're right.
Yeah, shocking. I don't even want to know what it is.
You hired Joe and I to do it. That's what you do. That's answer.
Wolverine's not wearing a shirt there, huh?
Where's Wolverine?
In the Fantastic Four roast?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't.
Doesn't. He's having a good time. Is this the first Rocket Raccoon?
Yeah. I think the first Rocket Raccoon might have come in Marvel Premiere.
Yeah, I cannot remember. I know some places have cited this, but it doesn't, like you say, it doesn't sound right.
I don't know. That's just my memory, which is obviously full of holes. Captain America and the Falcon by Jack Kirby. Can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Is that a Frank Thorne Red Sonja?
Yes, this is.
I probably own it because he's the only person that I've enjoyed Red Sonja with.
And I know it's I understand, but it's still that would have been so uncomfortable to be wearing that around like that.
No one who fights for a living wears a steel bikini. I'm sorry.
But it just would have, you get into cold weather, it would have stuck. It's just bad.
Sorry about it. Yeah. And even with Conan in his fur bikini, he's a barbarian.
Sure.
Like, the whole point of it is he's a fucking barbarian. She's not a barbarian. She's, for that period, reasonably civilized.
Yeah, the fur made sense for Conan. Plus, it would keep him, at least keep that part warm, you know.
Yeah, so he'd go naked. That was his concession to local fashion.
Yeah, no, Red Sonja would have been just not just uncomfortable. I mean, just every part of that. I mean, in hot weather, it would have been bad, and cold weather, bad.
God, can you imagine those coins heating up in the sun?
Oh God, that's just a nightmare.
No, sorry, Sonia, you're just crazy. No wonder you're mad all the time.
That's right. Okay, we're wrapping it. We're getting close to the end here.
Are we? Oh, we're wrapping the segment up?
No, well, no. We
or the night your family's telling you to stop talking to the other geeks. That's what
we should soon wrap. But this is a good one. What old comic book loose end do you want to see resolved?
Oh, Jesus. Jesus, what's a dangling plot thread? Oh, I'll never get to do it. But many years ago, Chris Claremont, who had unfettered control of the X-Men for far too long, he did this weird story where Storm, Forge, and Forge's mentor, who had been taken over by a dire wraith, switched souls. And I didn't know what that was in aid of, and it was never fixed. For all we know, whoever's soul is inside Aurora right now is actually Forge. I don't know what that means, but it always bugged me.
Uncanny X-Men. That was before. When was this? This was before issue 200. Okay, where's Doc when you need him? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's prior to Love Story, I think.
Yeah,
Or
this
after.
was, yeah, but this was before 204. So we went into Mutant Massacre. So it would be all right.
Yes,
Anyway,
I have read that. Elsewhere, I have read that. It's awesome.
Store. We use Comic Star. Yeah, my plan is to make it not nostalgia, but if we've talked about this before. I'm gonna teach art classes to kids. We're gonna make it a little bit of a different thing. So that's
not nostalgia shops. It's what we and I were talking about. Just geek specific, like more broadly geek world.
Definitely more geek centered.
Yeah. It's a great plot thread. I wish people would resolve soon. Is Moira?
Yeah, that would be great. I'd love to see that dangling freaking Chad. That hanging Chad snipped off.
Feels like
I don't know. A lot of the things that I want to see resolved are kind of make up pitches that I would pitch to Marvel. Mm-hmm. So I have an idea for Lila Cheney that I want to do. I have an idea for the Ronin armor. I think that deserves a book. Oh God, there's so many dangling things. Here's an interesting thing, and no one will ever do anything with. Jack and Stan, or just Jack or just Stan, created all of these secret society cultures that exist in the Marvel universe. So Inhumans, the Subterranean, very Subterraneans, the Tiwazi, Wakanda, El Dorado in South America or Central America. All of these societies that nobody does anything with, and I'm like, you're only ever talking about Wakanda. What are all these other people doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I had this idea of doing a book called Seven Cities, some sort of conflict that only involved them. And it's so big that you have to be Hickman to ever pitch it and get it across. So that's the kind of crap I think about.
I think there's a lot of ground to cover. I mean, we'll get there.
For me, some of the things I'd like to see, there are so many characters that have just been left high and dry who are amazing. Dakota North, for example.
Wow. Hell yes. Sold.
The fact that they're not doing anything with her and they barely have it all is insane. You have characters like Bernie Rosenthal, who was this great counterbalance to Cap, and then they just have her go to law school and then occasionally come back as like a lawyer for someone.
No, I never understood that either. She was great. She was drawn great. She had a great personality.
Yeah.
Great counterpoint to him in every way, and there was no way she was ever going to be a superhero.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
Yeah, I mean, characters like that. And then at DC, you have characters like Brother Power the Geek, who's awesome, and they do nothing with him.
What is wrong with you? There's something truly wrong with you that you keep bringing up Brother Power the fucking Geek.
Because he's a great character, but he's never used. Same thing with you have characters like Coagula, who was killed off panel in Doom Patrol. Jarna Crudy, Doom Patrol number 9. She's killed off panel and never brought back again. She was supposed to come back during this Gerard Way run. She was going to be traveling through space and using the frog mask that she had in her first appearance.
Oh my God!
As like a space helmet.
Oh my God!
It never happened. And I wish it would have been great to reintroduce her, but again, this is a character where it's like you guys should want to reintroduce her. You should want a whole generation to be like, look at how progressive we were almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah, I mean, there's a character called the Alpha Centurion that probably younger people don't know about, who I always thought was really interesting, and he's a great concept. He's basically a Roman guy that got taken to another planet at that time, imbued with massive superpowers, and then for whatever reason comes back to Earth now, and is very surprised with what he finds here. And he kept bumping heads with Superman because his morality was wildly different, right?
Yep.
And he wasn't quite a villain. He sort of occupied the space Black Adam occupies, but I always thought he was a fun character. All my dangling plot threads have to do with weird off to the left. I have a great pitch for Son of Vulcan that they'll never fucking do. Like people are like, son of who? Exactly. So
hey, you can't knock Joe for Brother Power of the Geek and throw that out there. I mean,
hey, Brother Power of the Geek. That's like saying I want to see a Prez book. Like
They did that recently.
Was it the Dream? Was it the Green Team? Remember them?
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
But the Prez was in. Wasn't that in DCU? Or after New 52? Yeah,
that was 4.5 years ago.
Jesus Christ! How old are these people?
We had Prez 4.5 years ago. It was there. We had the Green Team 4.5 years ago.
Like, I feel like, and I don't know that there's any appetite in any of these companies to do stuff like this, but like this Truth and Justice thing that we're doing on the digital first thing, to me, that's just DC Showcase. Like it's a way theoretically to break new talent. I'm not new, but it's a way to break new talent and do some interesting stuff with characters you might not normally think of them, but with fairly low risk. The issue cost per issue is 99 cents digitally. Yeah. So that seems kind of fun. And the characters we all were just talking about were all from first issue special, which I always thought was a genius idea. You're literally every month buying a first issue. Yeah. And if enough people buy it, it gets to go on, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I love that.
You know, and more characters like that, like the Spectre, the Phantom Stranger, and Madame Xanadu. I mean,
Christ. Madame Xanadu, yeah.
You know,
what was that? Night Force?
Yeah. It was Doorway to Nightmare when she was originally in that. Like, God, that came out right before I think the implosion, and they had way too many horror books, and that was like one of the last horror books they did. And she's so great, and it's like
that's another thing. Perch. I don't know if there's even one of your data stories in this, but at the time, there were a lot of comic books being made, and I think partly it was because the only thing these companies did was make comics.
Sure.
Like now they're subsets of these giant companies, and there's this impetus to sort of streamline and, you know, bear everything down to its core essence because they're not really in the business of just selling comics, so they don't have to compete in the same way. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to keep coming up with new crap. I don't have to try out new ideas or whatever because really all I'm doing is servicing the IP. It's not an IP farm. It's more like an IP vault.
It's that I mean, there are other factors too. I think for a while when you had to play in the newsstand in the 80s, there was certain volumes you had to do. I mean, there were some other factors, but it wasn't this. And it is, I desperately want, and this has been a huge argument I've had with other retailers. I want comics outside the direct market as many places as possible.
Right.
Like it has to happen. I'd like a digital platform that doesn't suck.
Don't get me started.
It can't be this bad. And I think Bezos and that they should be ashamed of themselves for that pile of shit.
I'm thinking of releasing my stuff, my next round of indie stuff through Kablam.
Yeah, that's
their stuff, and doing it sort of a digital first, maybe through Comixology, maybe just on Amazon, or just. You know, and then do the POD stuff through Kablam. I like the product that they put out. Like the physical product is fine. But I don't know yet.
There's better ways to do digital. I'm convinced somebody who's not a jackass will do it at some point. But
yeah, I hope they show up. I know that not to toot their horn of my friends, but whatchamacallit was trying to do it. Throwbit was trying to do it, and I think they came up with a really good interface. But I think the drawback was they weren't well known enough, and frankly, John and Mark were hippies, and I don't know that they had a real business sense about doing it. They're like, we're just going to do it, and it's going to be really creator friendly, and it's every creator is going to want to do it because we have the best deal, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's true, but they also want eyes on their product,
right?
And I'm not sure enough people got funneled to the site to make it really pull in the top people that would be the anchor for a site like that.
They didn't, and the challenge you have with anything digital is that the platform, the technology is moving so fast. You need technologists helping to steer you. It's not like publishing where things are relatively set. It's Apple's going to come up with a new phone and a new kind of modal of how you're going to read this stuff every year, and so that's your pace. And for a lot of people in comics, that doesn't compute at all. It's like
Janoske, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I have a massive Blue Marvel pitch that I wish that Marvel would let me do. I pitched it a couple of times, and I just get crickets back. It is fucking massive, and would in fact involve what are they calling her now, Spectrum as well.
In theory,
I just don't know if they want to do it. Like it's big. It involves the Shi'ar. It's very cosmic, and I feel like a lot of that stuff they're saving for the movies. I don't know, but things that are really big, they're going to have a movie. The movie guys are going to have to weigh in, basically, because if you do something really cool before the public even sees it, I'm guaranteeing you Kevin Feige's going to want to see it.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
They may want to use it. So it's difficult because there's some really fun stuff and I can't be the only person, right? There's no way I'm the only person thinking of really cool stuff. And then, I think that the reason you're not seeing that kind of sort of kick the doors open, unless it's a person like Hickman, is that he made his brand. What the hell is this guy writing?
Yeah. Like
when you read a Hickman book, you're like, what the, but that's his brand. If he doesn't do that, you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
But the rest of us, we didn't build that brand, so we don't get the leeway.
Yeah. You've gotten a lot of people. So I hopefully you have a lot of people cheering you on to basically pitch everything at the moment. So
well, I'm a geek like you guys. Of course you like my shit. The reason I like coming here talking to Perch and Joe is that it's just like being at a comic book shop on Wednesday. All we do is talk about fucking comic books and what fun they are, and this crazy thing from the past or what this lunatic's doing over here. Like that's the point. It's supposed to be fun.
This is absolutely. So this is what it should be. We got to. I always have a great time with both of you, and let's do that. We should have the serious chat. I'll get Sean and some others on, and we can really go through it. That'd be good. But let's try and check in once a month if you guys are free.
Minimum. And the standing thing is if I've got something that you want to talk about coming out or after it's come out or whatever, hit me up. I'll show up. Yeah. And in terms of just for you guys, it's my preference to not talk. I'm not you guys know this, the audience. Mm-hmm. Just in general, I don't like offering opinions about books I'm actually working on that have long histories, not because of my own work, because anything I say can be taken out of context as a dig at an earlier creator.
I've never seen that ever happen on the internet ever.
I'm just saying. So I'm not avoiding the question, and I'll be perfectly frank and happy to talk about anything once I'm no longer writing this particular book. But if anyone's looking for little weird quotes for me to say that how much I hate Geoff Johns or this particular run was terrible or fuck Hal Jordan, he needs to die or any of that shit, you're not going to find it over here because, as I said earlier, everybody did something that's worth remembering. Everybody wrote something in the Green Lantern mythology that is worth savoring and holding close to the heart. And it is not my job or my intention to ever shit on the earlier creators, even if I didn't like everything they did, because no one's going to like everything I do.
Well, that's really, that's well said. Thank you for that. And thanks for Joe and thanks for hanging with us too.
Yeah. Joe, when's your book out?
May 5th.
All right, keep telling me and everyone else that over and over again.
I will. May 5th, Beckstar.
All right.
Yes, Mad Cave, Beckstar. Get it reserved. I think the orders should be out. So
I'm not anti-booty. I'm just anti-random booty that I did not choose. I am enjoying the booty.
Will Beckstar have a booty on the front of it?
I think it might already be going to print without a booty on the cover.
You need to stop.
You messed up. When's City of Bruce out? We got
we got to just make that happen.
Yeah.
I'm close to drawing you guys a cover for that. You have no idea.
Oh, trust me, we're down the path.
Okay.
It has to happen.
I can't believe, and you're going to kill Bill Mullins. That's amazing. So,
well, it's really the only reason I came to DC Comics was so I could get my hands on that chicken murderer. So, take that shit out of context.
Beautiful. But, hey, Geoff and Joe, thank you very much for hanging with us tonight. Thank you, everybody in the chat. If you had fun, please hit like. If I guess that's good for some kind of algorithm. I'll be honest, I don't know. So, YouTube is a trash fire. I'm sorry. Half the comments, you actually mentioned you were trying to post stuff and it was disappearing.
Yeah, that did happen. I forget which one it was. Oh, I think you were crunching numbers on Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Right.
And the thing we were talking about on Twitter about Homegirl getting fired off of The Mandalorian, everybody in the audience, or enough people in the audience, keep thinking that these are emotional decisions because the person involved said something you're responding to emotionally, right? They said something you like or don't like, and then they got punished for it, right? But the truth is, these companies don't move based on any of that. They only move on sales. So you may dislike Kelly Sue's work or her attitude or both, but it is entirely a coincidence if she goes away as a writer.
Yeah. It's the social media. It's accounting for such a tiny. I mean, and I'm trying to draw that mathematically and show people, but it is. I get it, and it's emotional when people when you do see something and they offend you, and it feels like they're talking to you, and you're angry, and it's none of that saying it's not a dumb statement. It's a lot of these statements are super dumb, but this is about money, and the money is.
She could say anything she wanted, up to a line. There's things you can't say, obviously. Yeah. You know, I like to eat children for breakfast. That's probably not going to keep your job very long. But
you have to say it like 5 or 6 times, and then eventually.
You know, but if she's it's always cost benefit. How much does it cost us to support her or ignore whatever it is she's doing? How much is going to cost us to let her go? Yeah. And if it's less to let her go, she's out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
It is weird. Well, Ash is bringing up a point. We'll get into it. It's not as simple as that. You're also saying Aquaman is a flagship book. I'm not sure.
No, it's not. Yeah. No, it's not. No,
but
it's not.
There is something. This is a baffling question, and I don't want to keep us going for another hour. But it is. You have Aquaman the movie coming out. You've got a pitch and a plan, and you know what that movie is going to be. You know what the story is going to be because you've been filming it for a year, and you got it. And then you put out a comic and you take a 90-degree left turn from what's going on in the film. And this isn't just Aquaman. This is most comics. That's weird, right?
Yeah, it is weird. If you're going to cross market. Yes. If you're not, I think it's counterproductive to put out a comic that doesn't match the other thing. So if you're not going to cross market, then don't do anything. Yeah. Right. The comics. We've talked about a lot of stuff, and you're right, this will go on forever. There's very little crossover between people who buy comics and people who buy movies. There's a lot of crossover from our side. Everybody who buys comics also buys movies. Almost nobody who goes to the movies for these characters shows up at a comic book shop. Yeah. So if you're not going to do a cross market, then don't do something that undercuts the movie, would be my motto. Like, why would you do that? Like right now, what the Aquaman is he being turned into Calderon, or is that just for Future State?
That's just Future State, yeah.
Okay. So, but that's a good example though. If Aquaman the movie was coming out now, and I went to the comics and I saw Aquaman, and I see a little white girl and a black dude, I'd be like, well, what the hell's that? Mm-hmm. Like, what is that?
I mean. It's they don't commit to the bit. I mean, I think you're either got to do cross selling or you don't. I mean, but you can't. Yeah, I don't know. They straddle it in a weird way. A topic for another time. Hey, Geoff and Joe, thank you very much. I'll make sure in the broadcast to talk to you guys for a little bit more. But
awesome.
Thank you very much for coming, and I'll see you next week.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah. Have a good one. Thanks.
Bye, guys. Thanks for the chat.